Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Monday night. It is time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and it looks like we've got a new format going for us, Jen. How do you like it?
We have a new format. Well, I closed it on my end because it was distracting to me. But I know what you're talking about. The vertical.
Oh, I see. Oh, so I don't have to look at this one.
No, I closed it because I found it distracting. So you can close it.
Okay.
Is that better? Right. Yeah, that's better,
Yeah,
right?
it looks fine.
Yeah.
I am in desperate need of a haircut. But that
was my concern. That was I was worrying about that all day. I was thinking about that. It might keep me up tonight.
Well, as you see, guys, Jen will not stop abusing me as long as we're working together. So it's just the way it goes. Yeah. Hope everybody's doing well. Make sure that you smash that like button. I might adjust my hair or two while we're live. We'll see. It depends on how I feel. How's everything going on your end?
It's good. Still looking. For people who do not know, my house in the woods is not, that house fell through. So now there's another house, and now I'm going to see another house tomorrow. So I am still non-committed to a property at this moment.
Non-committed?
I am non-committed to I am not with property at this moment.
No, well,
the inspection was not good.
No, but the second one that you took a look at is good.
Yeah, the one I looked at yesterday was really nice. It's a manufactured home, which is, you know, as somebody from Florida, that's just not something that I'm used to. So I mean, I don't love that, but the property is so beautiful. So it's that one's it's still on the table, but I'm going to look at a property tomorrow that I want to see before we put in an offer on the other one. So we'll see. And this one has to have the right vibe. You know what I mean? It has to have the right vibe.
And this one has land as well?
This one is on a little less than an acre, but enough for me to do what I want to do.
Okay. Well, it's a start. So we hope you're all doing well this evening. Obviously, we have a number of different stories to get to, and a lot of it, of course, is not surprising, I guess, to anybody, but it is certainly very Israel-focused because they just will not keep their, they will not keep themselves out of the news, although it will be very interesting as the House does plan to vote tomorrow on the release of the Epstein files. We'll see if anything is redacted or not. My guess is that quite a bit of it probably will be, and there will be a big ruckus about, well, you didn't release all the information. Look.
I don't understand. What have we been then watching and listening to and seeing, if not the release of the Epstein files? I feel like we've been looking at the information. So I don't understand what they're voting on then. Because we've been looking at all sorts of emails and personal communications. And so where did that all come from? If that's not part of the Epstein files, I guess I'm confused.
Well, the whole idea that Trump and Clinton had a tryst of some kind is pretty
That's
funny.
Just one of many things, though, that has come out. Like people have been going over these released emails. So if that's not from the Epstein files, then what is that from? I feel like the Epstein files have been released. I don't know what they're voting on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there probably is some additional stuff that's probably out there. But for the most part, what is it that we don't already know? That there are sex trafficking rings of young children, that there is illicit behavior by almost everyone in Congress, that one of the Congress members was texting Epstein during one of the congressional hearings. I mean, look.
Did you address Megyn Kelly the other night, by the way?
No, I didn't. Hey, you're the one who said stick to the schedule. You want to add in something?
Yeah, no, I just came to my mind that I had told you the other day that you should mention something about that Saturday night, but no, continue.
Well, if you want to talk about it, I could probably grab it pretty quickly if you want to.
No, I mean, at this point, I think people know. That's why, I mean, it was more timely the other day, but if anybody hasn't been paying attention or you live in the woods like I want to, Megyn Kelly apparently thinks that, underage is just a very fluid term, sort of like gender fluidity. It's sort of age fluidity with her. And apparently 13, 14, 15 is not children. It's like there's this level of justification based on the age of an underage person, as if somehow that makes it okay. Now, it might. And I was talking about this with Rachel the other day. Like, if a man is in a bar and there's a woman in there who got in because she had a fake ID, and he assumes she's of age because she's in a bar, and she turns out to be 15 years old with a fake ID. While that's illegal, that doesn't make him a complete scumbag, because he wasn't there looking for underage people. Sure. But in the Epstein case, these people were specifically looking for underage people. So to give the sort of rationale, like there's a difference between 5 and 15. Well, yes, there is. But that lack of consent part is still the same. And her like just somehow downplaying that is completely disgusting and not okay, based on that there is gross, and shame on her. Not that I ever liked Megyn Kelly anyway, but just it's disgusting.
Colin, please check your phone. I think that the distinction between somebody who is prepubescent versus not, I think, is a big difference.
Only when the person, the John, if you will, is not aware that they're being with someone underage.
That's true.
If you know you're being with someone underage, that's part of the thrill for you. That's your thing. You're getting off on the fact that somebody is underage, unless it's like what I said, where you're in a bar, someone had a fake ID. And I've seen those cases, and statutory rape is there. It doesn't matter whether they knew or didn't know, but it matters in terms of morality, right? It doesn't matter as far as legality, but it matters as far as morality. And I think that's what she's missing. That's fine. Then that's your age of consent.
The age of consent in
here
Kentucky,
it is not that.
That's not true. Well, in Kentucky, I believe, is the youngest of all the states. I think the age of consent, if anybody can quote me, or if I'm misquoting here, I believe Kentucky is the youngest, and Kentucky is 15.
Well,
but for the most,
I don't think any of the Epstein cases are in Kentucky. Okay,
no, for the most part, the age of consent in the United States varies on a short list of 16 in several states, 17 in most states, and 18 in a number of states, including Florida and I believe New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. But again,
and let me be clear, I disagree with all of that entirely. Sure. I think that we as a society we need to decide what is an adult. And then you have whatever that age is, whether it's 18, whether it's 21, whatever you decide, that is when you are able to do adult activities like voting, drinking, all of the things that should be adult activities. And that's the age that we decide it is. Because in all reality, our brains are not fully developed until we're like 25, 26. That's so true. We're not going based on anything that is scientific other than just what we think. So if we're going to go by that, I don't know, because to me, it's disgusting to think that 15-year-olds can consent.
Well, listen, I mean, what country do we live in? Do not forget the people that write the laws and the people who want to see certain laws be put into place. Heck, there are probably people who put laws in place because there was probably a 50-year-old political representative who was fucking a 14-year-old and had to do something to adjust the law so that they didn't get themselves hung. There's just different things. But here's what Megyn Kelly said with Batya Unger.
She's a total piece of crap, that one.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a shit-lib Zion-Nazi who tries to play herself off like she's a wokie at the same time. It's always funny to watch.
And she's got her big Jewish star around her neck. Yeah.
I'm sure she does.
For Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
How is that?
And
that's
I
not
realized,
barely legal. That's illegal unless you're in Kentucky. And I want to address, Chanel, the problem is that 15-year-olds are sexually active. Absolutely. And I know that 15-year-olds, and I was said 15-year-old at one point myself, and I know that I would have said, oh, yes, but I consent. Too bad it doesn't work that way. So while they might be sexually active, if an adult wants to participate in sex with said child, then that adult is going to be liable for statutory rape and should be. Now, if said 15-year-old wants to have sex with a 16-year-old, that's the kind of shit that, what are you going to do? But adults need to be adults.
Yeah, and Megyn Kelly, of course, is somebody who I have said, like a lot of other people in politics, is a complete chameleon. She always has been. She is an attorney, a very rough and tough and good attorney by trade, but that's how she's become a very wealthy lady. You know, she was on Fox News, got canned, was on NBC, got canned, but she always managed to get a very large payday, and she's always maintained relationships with top upper echelon type people. And when she makes statements like this, it isn't because that's what she truly believes in her heart of hearts, probably not. It's what is good for her career. That is what is at stake here. For a lot of people, Megyn, unlike, let's say, Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin, is going to still likely have a career once this is all over. And so in this case, she is making a statement that I think she slipped up on when she said age of consent. And then she threw
said barely legal.
Barely legal.
Like
yeah, 15
no, yeah. Barely legal
would be 18.
Exactly.
Or 19. You're still a teen, but yes.
Right. That's barely legal, yeah. Megyn.
In her mind, it's like, oh, I said it wrong, because again, there's a reason why she's speaking like this. There are people that she is probably close to that need her to talk like this, that need her to soften the blow, because perhaps the Epstein files are going to be released. And
they've been released.
Well,
we've seen them.
We've seen some of it. There's probably more that we're not seeing.
Okay.
All I'm saying is this is a protection racket, and it pays very well. Megyn, of all people, would know that.
This is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to.
No. The point, Megyn, should be maybe they don't look legal, but they are legal. And that would be one thing. Also gross and skeevy. I find it disgusting that grown men find that schoolgirl look, even on a legal age person, that they find that appealing. I find it skeevy and gross. That's me. But for her to say that somehow it's okay if they're not legal, but look it. No. Does anybody know, does she have kids?
Yes,
do you know Megyn Kelly has kids?
She has 3, and one of them's a teenage daughter.
Oh, good God, woman. Like, you are horrible.
A passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore.
Well, that's what eventually got them to make a comment, is that, oh, we can dump on Pam Bondi because she's just the easiest person to crap on. But notice how Batya did not interrupt her once when referring to 15 years old being barely legal. I mean, that's a pretty big slip of the tongue, if you ask me.
It's all gross. I feel bad for her kids. This is somebody who, I don't know. That's not a whole lot of maternal instinct. And I am not the most maternal of people, but children are children.
Well,
children are children.
Yes, but then again, you raised 2 boys. You didn't raise a boy and a girl or 2 girls.
I tell you what, if I had a girl, I'd probably be even fiercer. So if anything, if she has a daughter and I do have 2 boys, and the fact that I get this and she doesn't, that's the opposite of what you're sort of like thinking would be my bias.
Well, as I said, I don't necessarily believe that what she's saying is what she actually thinks. I think she's saying it because she has a career, a very lucrative career, and she is going to do everything in her power to protect it, because that's what matters most to her. Just like a lot of other people who are doing what we're doing. The money and the career is of first and foremost their primary concern. And so she is going to choose her words very carefully because of the people that she may be associated with. Hence why Batya also did not push back on her when she said what she said. So,
no, because Megyn Kelly is a corporate whore.
Correct.
And her corporate donors are probably part of this seemingly global sex trafficking, underage ring. And yes, it's boys and girls. Absolutely. It's boys and girls. Let's not like, I mean, we don't talk about it as much, but it is.
Yes. And I also think that there's another layer to this, but let's finish this out and I'll share my thoughts.
Yeah. So I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever.
Yes, there is, Megyn. Technically, in order for it to be considered pedophilia, it does need to be somebody prepubescent. Yes, that's true. That's very scientific of you, you dumb cunt. The point is that these are children being trafficked. And the fact that somebody gets in it at 13 as opposed to 8, and the fact that she's sitting there like, what kind of random numbers? So it doesn't mean 8 or 13 to you. Is that your cutoff, Megyn? Is it like 13 and older is okay because there's a teen in the word? Like, seriously.
When I was a teenager and I started watching pornography, there was one thing that I noticed that I found extremely disturbing, particularly the type of pornography that was coming out. And this is in the late 90s. I can't even imagine how much worse it is now.
Well, a lot of it's AI now, too.
You had the constant need for every single type of modern day porn to be relatable to this idea that these women in question that were being shown were basically kids or very young. And that covered everything. It wasn't just the shaving of the pubic region. It was the pigtails in the hair, getting them to put braces on their teeth, get them to get giggly and talk and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself, there are people that get off on this?
Yes, clearly.
Pornography that was made back in the 70s and 80s, some of it had high production value. Women were treated with a lot more respect. There was just a different way that the business operated. That's not to say it wasn't sleazy and disgusting in so many ways, but there is no question that over time it evolved and it got so much more misogynistic, violent.
Yes.
Deprecating in every possible way. And then you add in this factor of we're pedorasses, we're sexual abusers, so we want to make this acceptable behavior. How do we do that? Well, let's make movies about it and we'll say that it's acceptable. Incest is acceptable. Child rape is acceptable. They really wanted it, so naturally we're going to push it. That's how this works. And it's been working that way for a very long time. So to say that we could see this coming would be an understatement. We all saw it.
Of course.
And I think the people that typically are depraved, the most depraved, are usually people, especially men. There's depraved women out there, don't get me wrong. There absolutely is. However, there are a lot of men out there that end up falling into these types of fetishes, trademarks, things of that nature.
It's called an addiction.
Addiction.
They're addicts. You're talking about people that are addicts, but they're like porn addicts.
But I also think that I think being an introvert plays a role in that. I think technology has led more and more to that type of behavior as a result of not, having, we'll just say, face-to-face communication, networking, etc. But then you also factor in there are people, particularly men, that do not know how to communicate with the opposite sex. And as a result, they become incels. And then they become deranged and depraved. And that's where this type of world comes from. Violence against women, especially trafficking, abuse, anything of that nature, it's not hard to see where it comes from. You have the people that are effed up in the head and enjoy that stuff. And then you also have the powers that be that either like it themselves or they know they can make money from it. And that's all that it's about. And that's why when Megyn said what she said, barely legal 15, I said, in what universe is 15 barely legal? In the United States, it's legal in one state. And even then, for all the good things you hear about Kentucky, it's still a state where you legally can marry your first cousin. So
Florida's got some weird shit on its books too, so don't go there.
Florida, for all the things you could say bad about Florida, Florida's age of consent in Florida is 18.
You're right, but in Florida, a man can legally marry his mother. So there's that.
Is that true?
Yes, and that's one of the icebreakers that Barbary used when I did the Barbary course to study for the Florida bar. So in the family law segment, that was one of the icebreaker things that the Barbary instructor used. So this was back in 2003. So unless that ancient thing has been taken off the books since, which is possible if somebody comes in and says, oh, that's not there anymore. Like yes, Florida is the only state in the nation where somebody could legally marry their mother. That was there. Anyhow.
Yes. And again, I do think that, well, and Megyn finished with, there is a distinction without a difference. I don't agree. I do think that there is a difference between pre and post-pubescent. I don't think anybody would argue that point. However, you are not going to tell me that just because a girl is fully developed at 13, 14 years old, that she knows the way of the world and should be interacting with a 25-year-old man, that's considered proper discourse. It's not. And don't get me wrong, I know what goes on. I know 30-year-old men who chase 15, 16-year-old girls. Ugh. So look, like I said, we live in a world where we have laws that are not always obeyed. And for those that are not in positions of power, you should obey them. People that are in positions of power typically break them. I'm not saying Megyn Kelly or Batya Ungar Sargon have done such a thing, but do I think that they would be willing to protect very despicable criminal behavior if it benefited their career? Absolutely.
What do you mean, would they? What do you think they're doing? What do you think Megyn Kelly's job is? Her job is to protect capital. She's literally doing that. So I don't know what you're saying. Would she? That's what she does. She's a tool for capital, and she's sitting there protecting a trafficking ring. And yeah, there is a difference between human trafficking and pedophilia. Those are different things. But when we're talking about young girls, there's a crossover. We're seeing a crossover here in the Epstein case.
We're seeing a lot of things that we don't necessarily like, but I want to try as best I can to try to put things in perspective when we talk about the problems that we have here at home, because there is still a tremendous problem going on right now in Gaza. Now, one of the things that I think people tend to forget, because it's been a completely devastated, unlivable part of the world. Give credit to the Palestinians for attempting, those that are still alive and can still function, the ability to try to rebuild what was destroyed. And essentially what you have are these little shanty towns. And shanty towns can't survive any type of a serious weather situation like flooding. And here is our good friend from CodePink, Medea Benjamin, talking about exactly what's going on in Gaza right now, that no one is talking about in mainstream or even mostly independent media. Frankly, I haven't seen anybody talk about this.
What's happening to the tents in Gaza now that the rains have started? These were never meant to be homes. They're flimsy canvas thrown up after people's houses were bombed. And now that the winter rains have come, water is pouring in. Floors turn into brown rivers of sewage and trash. Children wake up in the dark screaming because icy water is rushing into their tent. Mothers hold up their babies off the flooded ground, wrapping them in wet blankets, and elderly people are trapped on soaked mattresses.
They just want them to die. They're hoping they all just die.
Yeah, I was watching, Ben Norton did a really good segment on this, guys. If you don't watch Geopolitical Economy Report, I recommend it. But talking about how this plan that they're now putting into place, where there's the green zone and the red zones in Gaza, and what they're doing is the green zone is where it's going to be like Trumpapalooza and, you know, like the Riviera of Gaza and all this stuff. And then the red zone, where they have now forced all the Palestinians, which is about half the size of Gaza that they were living in. So they cut the concentration camp size in half. And that side is not going to have any means of rebuilding. They're literally living in rubble, and they will have nothing coming in to help them. There's no aid going in. They are wanting them to just want to leave. And there's part of that in their plan is seeking a voluntary migration of Palestinians. But this is very purposeful, what's happening.
I agree.
With nowhere dry to go. And the world is told, relax, there's a ceasefire and aid is flowing in. But that's a big lie. Israel promised at least 600 aid trucks a day under this deal, enough to at least start feeding people and get medicines into the clinics and bring clean water and more shelter. But they violate this every single day. In fact, the average has been about 170 trucks. That's a third of what was promised.
Do you know how many aid trucks need to be getting in there in order to save these Palestinians' lives? About 2,000 need to be getting in there every day.
Yeah. Well, again, they all they're doing is confining them into a smaller and smaller space and cutting them off from more and more things. So, and yet there's people that somehow think that Trump got a ceasefire, like that actually is a thing. That's not even a thing.
I would imagine that most people at this point probably don't think that anymore. Only the ones that want to live with their heads buried in the sand.
Well, like Fox News viewers and such.
More than just them.
And this shortfall is catastrophic. Every truck that Israel blocks is a hospital without supplies, a family without food or shelter. And what about the fire part of the ceasefire? Israeli forces are killing Palestinians every single day. Drone strikes, shelling, sniper fire. Ceasefire means you stop killing people. It means you let in the aid you promised. It means full protection of civilians. Please don't take your eyes off Gaza or off the Israeli regime. The genocide continues, and so must our support. Free Palestine.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it, but somehow she manages to continue fighting as she did when she was a kid, fighting against the war in Vietnam. So this doesn't surprise me. But
yeah,
I wish I could say that there was something positive to talk about. Unfortunately, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We are going to now transition to Al Jazeera. If anyone thought for a second that Israel was trying to do the right thing, well, I think everybody knows that that's not their MO, and it never will be. So, aid still woefully short of Gaza needs as heavy rains winter approaches. And that's the other thing that I think needs to be mentioned here. You're also talking about a situation where you have the cold season coming in. And I also don't think people realize that everyone's like, oh, the desert is so hot. Yes, it is. But do you know how cold the desert can get at night?
exactly. It gets freezing there at night, and it gets freezing and rainy at night. It's miserable.
UNRWA slams Israel for crippling Gaza efforts. Despite the ceasefire mandating the passage of humanitarian aid, only a fraction of that needed for the population has been let in by Israel. Could you imagine living like this?
No, I cannot fathom living in any way under the level of oppression that Palestinians have been living under for almost 100 years. But no, I cannot fathom living in a cold and rainy, miserable tent. I mean, I can, but that was camp, and it's not this, but it's not a good way to be.
Yes, we have, Kathy. We have one. It's called the Revolutionary Change Pack.
But we did, and we actually did an episode with Michael Rechtenwald. He's been on our show. We support them. They support us. We are on the same team as them, and we want to cross promote. They have candidates they're supporting. We have candidates we're supporting. But yeah, we have solidarity with the AZA PAC.
100%. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, has accused Israel of deliberately crippling its operations and blocking the entry of vital aid to Gaza amid its more than 2-year genocidal war, as Palestinians face the onset of heavy rains and winter with sparse shelter or relief. Safeguarding UNRWA's mandate and operations is required under international law. It is vital to the survival of millions of Palestinians, and it is essential for a political solution. That is, UNRWA Commissioner General Felipe Lazzarini told the UN General Assembly Fourth Committee on Thursday, citing recent findings by the UN Commission of Inquiry and rulings by the ICJ, obligating Israel to lift restrictions on the agency. Lazzarini also told a news conference at the UN headquarters in New York that several funding shortfalls were threatening UNRWA's essential services, urging donor nations for more money so that it could continue its operations in Gaza despite funding cuts by the U.S. Israel has barred UNRWA from operating on its soil after baselessly accusing some of its employees of participating in the October 7th, 2023 attack on southern Israel, which triggered the genocide, not war. Israel has repeatedly accused UNRWA employees of involvement in the October 7th attack without providing any proof. Well, that shouldn't surprise anybody. Now, should it, Jen?
No, I mean, that was the story from 2 years ago where they claimed that there was a whole bunch of UNRWA employees that were Hamas and showed no evidence, but yet a whole bunch of people lost their jobs and were like, and there's never any sort of accountability for this. There's never any accountability for this. It's coming.
No, and yet they really want us to believe that we are ever going to accept Israel as a society ever again. And this also, this will transition into the conclusion of this story after what Israel's trying to do right now, but we'll get to that in a minute. But it still employs 12,000 people in the Palestinian territory, and its services are vital to Palestinians. About 75,000 people were sheltered in 100 of our premises across the Gaza Strip. We have over the last 2 years, provided more than 15 million primary health consultations. Today, the average is about 14,000 a day. He added, also noting the agency's joint vaccination campaign with UNICEF and the WHO, UNRWA also provides education for tens of thousands of children. In the absence of a significant influx of new funding, the delivery of critical services to millions of Palestinian refugees across the region will be compromised. While U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said UNRWA will have no role in post-war Gaza in sync with Israeli demands, Lazzarini noted that since the U.S. brokered ceasefire between Israel and Hamas took hold, we have expanded our services. Terrifying nightmare for a lot of families. Under the ceasefire, which took effect on October 10th, not really, and which Israel has violated hundreds of times. How do you call that a ceasefire then? Aid deliveries were supposed to be significantly ramped up, with at least 600 trucks a day due to enter Gaza and fulfill the population's needs. However, only 150 trucks have been entering Gaza daily, carrying supplies that are not sufficient for the 2 million Palestinians that are currently displaced and homeless. Again, they are not giving an accurate count. Friend of the show, Anthony Aguilar, pointed out today that at least, according to Israeli statistics, at least 600,000 Palestinians are now dead, and Lord knows how many more will be dead as a result of not only this famine, but you add in a winter freeze to go with the famine. Like I said, their goal, kill them all as fast as possible.
And no sanitary measures. They have no infrastructure. So like what Medea was saying, which is what's happening is when it's raining and it's flooding, it's sewage. It's trash and sewage. So, you know, this leads to a lot of other complications, which...
The lack of supplies has prompted the UN to warn that the hunger crisis in Gaza remains catastrophic, particularly in the north, where famine was declared in August. Get the hell off my frickin' screen. Fuck you, Israel!
It's okay. We get the gist. The gist is that Israel has not abided by any of the terms of the agreement that they signed, not that they ever do. And yeah, but I would encourage everyone to check out Ben Norton's report on this new plan that's the green zone and the red zone that they're creating. And more importantly, what it's really connected to, because it's very eye-opening to see it from the perspective of the big picture. And the big picture is it's actually a strategic move in the Cold War with China. And it has to do with creating routes of trade that will compete with their Belt and Road Initiative that they are creating and working on. And Gaza is part of that plan for us. So there's a bigger picture here, which I just thought was very fascinating.
I mean, I run out of words to say for these people. I do. And like I said, I've lived in very hard conditions. So I know what it's like to live in the cold. I know what it's like to not have a lot of options in terms of food. You know, survival instincts kick in for sure. But this is like, it's still inconceivable how we're watching a genocide in real time and people are just not doing what they need to be doing. I'm grateful that there is this anti-Israel movement that is going to overwhelm them at some point. The Zionists will lose the fight in the long run in the United States. But to say that it is heartbreaking that we can't do more for these Palestinian people, but as you said, we have to bear witness to this. We must document this. It's much like General Eisenhower said when he was part of the liberation of Dachau. He said, take as many photographs as you need to, take as much video as you need to, and if you choose to deal with these soldiers in the fashion that you choose to deal with them in, that's your business. I didn't see anything. Why? Because somebody is going to stand up one day and say that this never happened. Now, of course, we know that there is always exaggeration, but I also believe that part and parcel, we are living in a world today where the Zionists truly, as a collective, do not understand what's coming for them. They don't understand how the world is going to reject them and how eventually it probably will lead to similar types of violence. And I will not shed a single tear for them if it does. I just won't. We see how they treat people in Thailand. We see how they treat people in Cyprus. We see how they treat people in this country.
How
we
about
see how they
South Florida?
Everywhere. They're disgusting people.
Yeah.
Like, purely. Just think of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and times that by several million. That's basically what Zionism is. And if you think she's detestable, trust me, they all are. Now, they don't all look as raggedy and shit-faced as she does, but most of them suck on a very exponentially high level. A lot of them are pederasties, as we covered Kevin Spacey. Why don't you ask Anthony Rapp when he was all of 14 years old if Kevin Spacey was a child molester? When Kevin Spacey was 30 years old and Anthony Rapp was 14. Yeah, he could ejaculate. He was a man by...
Right, so then it's not a pedophile.
Yeah,
according to the logic, it's just, is it really? It's barely legal, right, Megyn?
If there is a bright spot that we can turn the story on, I think, you know, before we do the call-in, and we haven't done a call-in segment in a couple of months, we know you guys probably been wanting to do that. I think we've got some people already lined up.
So for people who have joined and don't know, Peter, context is important.
Yes.
Hi, Anthony. I know. Well, if his brain never developed. He's stunted. He's a mental.
You're a terrible person. Don't talk to me like that. That's not funny.
Guys, we're going to be doing a call-in tonight. At the top of the hour, we'll start accepting calls. If you are a member on YouTube or you are a patron on Patreon, you have access to the call-in link. So if you're a member on Patreon, you can go over to Patreon, and I posted the link to the call-in. And if you're a member here, you get it here. That's how it works.
Alan Dershowitz looks like a pederast.
God, he's so disgusting.
He looks like one.
He's just so gross.
It's very inappropriate. And when pedophilia has been brought up to him about him liking very young, their children, let's be honest, just the way he tries to explain it, he's so guilty, but he's like, but I'm Teflon. You can't do anything to me. So I can do whatever I want.
He's put himself, this is what I've been saying since the very beginning about Dershowitz. You know, as Epstein's lawyer, he has complete privilege. He has complete privilege even after the client's death. So he has plausible reason to not ever, he's in the best position to be part of it and not have to ever be incriminated by it. It's just, he is so, I cannot with that man. Cannot with Dershowitz.
If you guys have ever seen the movie Carlito's Way, Dershowitz threatened to sue Sean Penn because of how he depicted the attorney with Carlito Briganti, and he said, "You made him look just like me." Hey, imitation's the greatest form of flattery, isn't it? But of course, it turns out that Sean Penn's character in the movie was a real shitty person, so it's understandable that he would act that way. On a little bit of a bright note, because as we just alluded to the fact that despite all bad that's going on right now, the world as a whole is rejecting Israel. And what better place to recognize that fact than at what is going on at Miss Universe right now? Miss Palestine, who is an exceptionally beautiful woman, was in a situation where she had to stand, and I'm sure this was totally on the part of, somebody pointed out, they said the Miss Universe committee probably purposefully put Miss Palestine next to Miss Israel and wanted to get this sort of viral moment of Miss Israel's side eye directed at Miss Palestine. You could not have not seen that coming. I have a feeling that was the intent. So
okay, well, let me say this, and I am, as somebody who has generally and consistently been an anti-pageant person, nothing isn't thought through with the staging of a pageant like that. Nothing. Every single person is on every single mark. Every single decision as to who stands where is completely planned and completely purposeful. Now, whether or not the person doing that and setting that up did it purposefully to create a situation, or did it purposefully because those are women from the same region, which who knows, but absolutely purposeful.
Here we go.
Israel versus Miss Palestine. You might have seen Miss Israel giving Miss Palestine a dirty look, but did you know she also released a video criticizing her? Nadine Ayoub is a Palestinian model crowned Miss Universe Palestine 2025, and she'll be the first Palestinian to compete in Miss Universe. But not everyone is celebrating. Just a few days ago, Israeli contestant Melanie Shiraz was caught giving a dirty look to Miss Palestine as she waved to the audience. Last month, she publicly attacked Ayoub, posting a video that called out Ayoub by name, claiming that Miss Palestine was distorting the story of her people. Meanwhile, Nadine is showing up with her own message. She said, quote, "I carry the voice of a people who refuse to be silenced. I represent..."
I love that she's wearing that. I love that she's wearing that.
Kind of like Miss Rachel showing up at, I forget the award event that she was just at, but wearing the Palestinian garb around her neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Here's another thing. Miss Palestine, on a scale of 1 to 10, would be at like a 9, and Miss Israel would be at like a 3.5.
That's a matter of personal preference. If Miss Israel wasn't a cunt and wasn't from a genocidal psychotic state, but you just saw her and she was cute and she had a nice little glow from within, you wouldn't necessarily think that. So I'm telling you, it's from the inside, the eyes. It's the eyes.
I don't agree, Kenman. But then again, there is no such thing as Israel. That's just a woman from another place who claims Israeli
Correct.
heritage.
But I agree with, like, you're looking at her from the perspective of, who she is.
But the inside
she's ugly on
matters too.
Yes, well, it does. It comes out
for who they are.
It comes out.
That's what I'm saying.
and every Palestinian woman and child whose strength the world needs to see. TV events like this are about narrative, who gets to be seen, who gets to speak, and whose stories get amplified on the world stage. Despite these attacks, Ayub is using the stage to challenge perceptions and empower Palestinians amid one of the most difficult moments in their history. The finale is scheduled for November 21st. In the US, the broadcast will air on Telemundo and stream on Peacock. Will you?
Well, there you go. Will
Good.
you tune in?
Probably not. I'm not really a fan of the whole pageant concept. It's just not something that I've ever been a fan of. I take issue with it. I don't dislike it in the same way for adults that I do for children. I think children in pageants is just creepy as fuck to me. I think it's disgusting seeing children in makeup looking like grown-ups. So that's the child thing. But for adults, it's kind of like, okay, if that's what floats your boat, but it's not my thing.
Understood. We'll finish it up.
Be watching the finale? Let me know in the comments and follow me for updates.
Well, we'll get an update of some kind, but I do want to see if there is, I think there's like this photo capture. It's Palestine. Yeah, there's got to be, yeah, there was like this perfect image capture of the two of them, you know, kind of like standing side by side, and you could see, oh yeah, there it is. Okay. So, and of course, they're protecting all of these damn photos. It's like you can't share shit. Everything is like protected with like a watermark of some kind. But
Elle says that Miss Israel is Persian, so which doesn't surprise me because Israelis is not a thing. So they're all something else because there is no such thing as Israel. So, yeah. So saying she's Persian, yes, that's what Kenman's saying. She's Persian.
it says that she denies giving her a dirty look. But I mean, you can't look at this photograph and not say, oh yeah, she was definitely giving her some type of a look. That's just obvious. And again, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not going to watch any award show or anything of that nature. Or you know, I do think, and I think there's got to be like a way to open this on another page. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Yeah, that's like the best that I can get. All right, so let's see if this works. So I just want people to have an idea of exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, she's definitely given her.
Yeah, look at that. Oh my God. Like that looks like it's a thumbnail for a reality TV show.
Yeah, it's like Desperate Housewives or some shit.
Pageant queens of West Asia. Like that's what this looks like.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at least the person that they picked to represent Israel doesn't have, you know, blonde hair and blue eyes, because that would just look ridiculous. At least
right. So at least they picked somebody that has olive skin and is Arabic passing, even though Persian is not that. So okay, whatever.
I just like how Palestine, you know, it's like how this hasn't been turned into a meme yet. Like, because I want to see it. I want to see somebody. Come on, there's got to be something you can meme this into, because it's almost like the that meme of the guy who's with his girlfriend and he notices the other girl walking by and she's like, "How could you do that?" And in this case, Miss Palestine is not even paying Miss Israel any mind, but Miss Israel's like, "Ugh, God, you."
Oh no, Miss Palestine is living rent free in Miss Israel's head, and that's glorious to see right there.
I mean, it really is. If an image is worth 1,000 words and then some, this is the one.
Yeah, it's great.
And the fact that she came out and said, "No, I wasn't giving her the side eye." Are you fucking kidding me? And if you watch when they actually captured the actual clip of it, you can see her like tilt her head right at her, like looking at her like, "Oh, you wish you was as hot as I was." She is hotter than you. Oh, all right, fine. She's not unattractive, but
if she wasn't right, if she looked like she was radiating from the inside and was smiling with her eyes, you wouldn't have that thought necessarily. We just know that she's a Zio cunt.
Well, actually, Nicholas, Miss Israel was promised this crown 3,000 years ago, and she doesn't want anyone getting in the way of it, not even the real dwellers from the land that she calls home. I'm just saying, we got to keep it 100. So if you guys are enjoying this content so far, which we hope you are, we hope you will consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You could become a supporter of our small but mighty and growing channel. We do want to give a shout out to our early super sticker people. IHIS, $2. Thank you for your stand. Thank you for your support. Our trusty mod with the 2 Canadian A, F Zionazis, hit the like. Yes, if
Hit
you
the
haven't,
like.
please, we would really appreciate it if you would do so. That would be very much appreciated. Navy EOD vet, thank you for the $4.99. Besides Katie Johnson, how many other 13-year-olds did he grape and slap around? I don't know. But usually if you get away with one, you kind of think you could get away with as many as possible. Am I right?
For every rat you see, there's 50 that you don't. So if you're busted with one, it's not the first. The odds of somebody being busted on their one and only is just, no, that's not a thing.
I guess not. But yeah, I would say that it's probably likely that there's more. Jim Talib with the $5 super sticker. Thank you very, very much. Always appreciate you being here, my friend. Mark J with the $2. I haven't yet forgiven America for Vietnam. Never. And if you haven't forgiven America for Vietnam, I assume you haven't forgiven America either for JFK's assassination. But then again, is it really all on America, or does Israel play a role as well? I believe they do.
Again, you're not seeing the big picture. Who is Israel? What is Israel?
Israel is us and we are them.
Correct.
For now.
I just, when you say, is Israel have responsibility for, Kennedy or whatever? Well, yes, but it's Israel is us. They cannot exist without us. They cease to exist without us. So that's, they're a symbiote, like a virus or a bacteria. It latches onto a host.
Well, for now, that's the way it's going to be. But thank you for hitting the yes, but no. It's been a while, yes, and appreciate you being here. And yes, the USS Liberty is definitely. I mean, look, we're still trying to get Phil on the show. Hopefully, we will get him at some point on Thursday. We will have Jacob Berger. We are really looking forward to that one. I'll be speaking with John Popola on Saturday. And Jen, who do we have coming up next Monday?
Next Monday, we have the two gentlemen that reached out to us. I forget the name of their show. They are in China. So I know it's going to be like, is it that it's tomorrow when it's our day? Like they're in, I don't know. Are they in the future? They're like, they're coming to us. So they'll be joining us from the future. The 2 gentlemen that have a podcast in China that had reached out to us, and I cannot remember their names off the top of my head, but we will have all of that and have a really, yes. Thank you, Rachel.
Perelman and Peter, professors from the great, there's like a name for China. In the Far East. We'll just say the Far East. That's where they're coming from. Yeah, so we got a lot of good guests lined up. But now
we should at least explain why Dimitri Lascaris was supposed to be our guest tonight. He had to postpone, so he will be joining us, I believe, on the 1st. So he's on the schedule for then. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we obviously also want to make sure that you guys know that we also do have a PAC. And if you look over my shoulder, you can see the QR code if you haven't clicked it. The Revolutionary Change PAC is supporting 3 candidates for elected office in the United States. The first one is Butch Ware, who is running for governor on the Green Party ticket in the state of California. Second is Shama Sawant, who is running for Congress as an independent in Washington's, I believe, 9th congressional district. I want to check on that real quick. I believe that's the district that she's running in against Adam Smith. Adam Smith is a 30-year incumbent in Congress. And yes, it is the 9th district. I was right. Number 9. We are very hopeful that Shama does have a fighter's chance at winning that race. And finally, Graham Plattner running in the Democratic primary in the state of Maine to become the next U.S. Senator. and flip that seat. But we know the Democrats would much rather have Susan Collins go back until she is dead, rather than give up a seat to somebody who might actually fight for working class needs. So with that said, if you guys are interested, we will officially begin our call-in segment. And Colin, if you will, just kind of lay out the groundwork, if you will, in terms of what those that are supporters of our channel need to do in order to call in and join in on the fun.
Yeah, if you're a supporter on YouTube membership or Patreon, just go to the YouTube member feed or Patreon feed, and you'll see a post with a link to the Zoom call. When you come in, you'll be automatically muted and all that, and you'll just wait for your name to be called, and that means it'll be your turn.
Awesome.
Thank you, Colin.
And Stephanie, I did see you mention in the chat Jose Vega. We are absolutely supporting Jose Vega, but he is being backed by Michael Echtenwald's
Rechtenwald, AZAPAC. He is one of AZAPAC's candidates, which is why we're trying.
coordination. Got to make sure we're not overlapping. Remember, guys, strategy does matter. That's a big part of it. All right, Colin, who do we have first on the call in? Ooh, we're going closer.
First up, we have Brian Cole, if you want to unmute. Or Brian Cole, if you want to unmute. It might take a second.
I see Brian Cole down there.
Yeah, we see him.
If you can hear Brian Cole, we'll give a couple more seconds. If not, we'll do the next person while we wait. Okay, we can do, there's another person here, Jordan Jardine, if you want to unmute while we wait. Okay, we can do, there's another person here, Jordan Jardine, if you want to unmute while we wait.
Hello.
Hi.
There's another person here, Jordan Jardine, if you want to unmute while we wait.
All right, we're getting an audio kickback, Jordan. So
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not.
hearing the feedback.
There's another person here, Jordan Jardine, if you want to unmute while we wait.
All right, we're getting an audio.
All right, we're having a loop.
It's live TV. You know what you got to make it work.
We're having a loop.
I-
We're having a feedback.
I muted
situation.
it. I think it's one of you guys.
How can
Are
it
one
be?
of you not wearing headphones?
Neither of us is wearing headphones.
That's
I'm not sure
news.
what.
I've done that before.
We've
Yeah, I
never
thought-
had that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me try talking again, Jordan.
I also think it might be on a delay.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Here,
Please.
give me 1 sec. I think I need to do one thing.
Technical difficulty.
I realized what I skipped one step.
All right,
Oh,
we're getting
Colin.
somewhere. This is what happens when we
All right.
don't do this for a while. We get rusty with the call in.
Can you hear us now, Brian?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, my phone's about to die, so I'm gonna have to plug it in a minute. So,
All right, ask us a question.
here I hear that they're redistricting South Florida, and it looks like the Republicans is trying to challenge DWS. Do you think they have a chance to beat her?
Yeah, actually. I mean, if not if not this election, then the next one or the one after that, because the last Republican who ran against her in 24, I want to say Chris got within 8 points of her, which is pretty as close as it's gotten. And the Democrats have only lost numbers. They're only losing. They're bleeding people. Most people are no party affiliation. So yeah, I do think it's possible. I think that is infinitely more likely than her ever being unseated in a primary. So yeah,
I was thinking that'd be a good thing, because obviously she's not a popular person. I don't know I think the Republican would probably be a Zionist though too. So I don't know if it'd be a win either way, but
Well, I think
she's a
Wasserman
hated
Schultz.
person. So
Yeah, I think the thing about Wasserman Schultz is that she basically has a stranglehold on that district in terms of various types of threats, and this covers a range of different issues. It's kind of like what you guys are going to see with the congressional primary with Hakeem Jeffries. Now, this guy OC who's running against him is going to have a good amount of groundswell of support. But what's going to ultimately end up happening, we're getting an audio kickback again, Colin. I don't want to hear that. So what's effectively going to end up happening is that you're gonna see, in particular in Hakeem Jeffries' race, he is going to put the screws to everyone within the congressional district that has any type of, let's say, a vote share. Could be unions, it could be different segments of the Black community in terms of their interest groups and whatnot. So it's a very similar situation that happened with Wasserman Schultz. The only way she's likely going to be out of there is if a Republican is able to unseat her. And because of the way that the district lines have changed, the demographics have changed, yes, there were people that were interested in unseating her. But when you have somebody like the firefighters union, where the actual head of the firefighters wants to endorse Jen against Wasserman Schultz, and then the higher ups at the top of the Democratic Party basically threaten your union, like the head of the teachers union does, then you understand why this is a very dirty business and why the worst of the worst people stay there. You think most people like Ted Cruz? Ted Cruz is now planning on running for president of the United States again. Why? It's not because anybody likes him. It's because he's a corporate whore and he does exactly what he's told to do. I can't imagine. The moment I realized, and I said this to Jen earlier today, the reason I finally realized just how depraved the whole landscape of politics is in general. When you talk, we're hearing a lot of talk about usury and how this is a very big issue regarding, let's say, the Zionist Jewish community in particular. No one is worse with usury than payday lenders. I mean, they're like Satan's spawn, if you will, worst type of people. Wasserman Schultz was funded by these people hand over fist for many, many years. And the idea that she was not kicked out of office for that alone, considering how impoverished so many parts of that congressional district is, there's a lot of affluent parts, no doubt about it, but there is a lot of impoverished people that live in that district that if they actually were capable of getting out there and making their own decision in terms of who they wanted representing them, Wasserman Schultz would have been out of there at least 15 years ago. But that's not the world we live in today. And so I think that if she's going to go, it's going to definitely be by a Republican. And here's hoping, Jen, I think you would agree that maybe this might actually happen.
Yeah, I actually have heard decent things about Claudia from a friend of mine who is helping her campaign.
Mm-hmm. All right, Colin. Yeah. Brian, any thoughts?
Jordan?
Okay, we're going to move on. We're moving on. Yeah.
Moving to, okay. Yeah. I see Zoom user is up next. So I don't have a name, but.
Okay, Zoom user. Let's hear it.
Name, but.
Okay, Zoom user.
Audio kickback. Yeah, I think so.
Is that you? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I'd be on this soon.
Audio. Come on, baby. What's going on back there?
I think so.
Is that you? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I'd be on this soon.
Come on, baby. What's going on back there?
So. It might. It might just have to be it might have been you guys talk and I mute them, and so just make sure to.
Jordan Jardine has been waiting back there for a while, so let's bring him in. I know that you were trying to get him on, so if Jordan's good, let's speak to him. So let's bring him in. I know that you were trying to get him on, so Jordan's good. Let's
This
speak
is,
to
yeah,
him.
we can't do this.
Yeah, Colin, why is that audio kickback coming in like that?
It's hard for me to multitask and hear the kickback at the
Yeah,
same
we
time as
can't
you
do
guys.
this.
But
Yeah, Colin, what?
it's probably just happening when I'm unmuting them. Hold on, we got.
didn't have this
So
before
first,
when you did
let's. I say, are you guys going to talk to Jordan?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
start
fine.
with that. So let me mute Zoom user, so we only have one person. And let me unmute this.
Crossing our fingers. Yeah, that's
Okay, Jordan, if you go ahead.
Hello?
Hi.
We good?
Okay, Jordan, if you go ahead.
Hello?
Hi.
There's a delay. We good?
Okay, Jordan, if you go ahead.
Hello?
see if we can work this out.
There's
Can
a
we work it
delay.
out?
We good?
Okay, Jordan, if you go ahead.
Yeah,
This is not good.
see if we can work this out.
There's
Can
a
we work it
delay.
out?
We good?
Yeah. No, we're not good. This is not working. I don't know what is going on here.
But we're gonna have to like punt and move on to doing some more stories because this is too frustrating and we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, I gotta see what's going on here. Give me, yeah.
Yes, but no is asking if I ever figured out Discord. No, I'm not figuring out Discord. I'm not learning Discord. I'm not doing Discord. If somebody wants to run a Discord for us, reach out at admin at revolutionarychangenow.com and let us know if you are interested in coordinating a Discord or something for us. But no, Jen is not learning Discord. I can't deal with it. There's too many emojis.
I don't use.
And I don't know why we're like this. Why are we like this?
I didn't do that. That was Colin who did it.
Okay, well, I'm undoing it because now we're not able to do that. So we're just gonna.
That's better.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Okay, Jeff, let's just do it this way. We'll do call-ins, and some people will get lucky because they don't have to technically be members.
Yeah, that'll work. And I figured I would make the size more appropriate since, you know, it's all. Come on, have a little fun. I mean, make me suffer through that. I mean,
Stop it.
who put that? Was that you that put that together?
No, it came
I
from
did.
Macro and
That's some kind of
Cheese.
stuff.
It came from Macro and Cheese.
Oh yeah, right. Steve did that. Oh,
I think Kami John did it.
yeah, right. I think you're right about that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure that if we're still having technical difficulties with people calling in, if they do have a question, and if they could put it in the chat, we will highlight the question and make sure that it is answered. And no, it does not be a super chat. So
Correct.
just if you have one, you know, let us know. Like Jordan, for example, if Jordan Jardine is your name in terms of your YouTube handle, or if it's something else, just let me know. But I want to make sure that if you have a question, and again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. We want to make sure that if you have a question, let's make sure that it gets answered. So, you know, just type it in the chat. We'll pull it up. I'm more than happy to converse. It's not the ideal way we wanted to do this. I thought we had it handled. But, you know, we also don't want to completely punt the live stream right now.
Shit happens when you're live.
It does, but it's never been this bad. This is different.
We've had oh my God, we've had so many issues in 5 years. Are you kidding me? We've had technical issues, we've had guest issues.
No, I'm saying in terms of the call-in situation.
Oh.
This has been a, yeah. I don't think, yes, but no mentioning that.
It is a Zoom. It is a Zoom. The format for the call-in is a Zoom. When we first started, I tried doing members only meetings, but nobody ever came, and it would just ended up being us. So I stopped doing them. And then call-ins is sort of a good substitute for having members only meetings when they work. But right now we're having technical difficulties. So Where's Medea? Medea's not on tonight. Peter, it is misleading when you put up thumbnails with people because they think they're coming on the show. Well, whoever does it, is it Colin does the thumbnail?
Yeah, and no, it's not misleading at all. If I said that with Medea Benjamin, that would be one thing. I didn't put that in the thing.
Okay, but people see it and they think that, so I get it. Yeah.
Okay, I think I fixed it. What I think this is actually is unfortunately Jardine is having the feedback. Is what I figured out.
It's his. Okay.
So let's start with JG 1982. Jardine, if you want to just double check what your microphone setting is on here. But JG 1982, if you want to unmute, and we'll make sure this works.
And Navy EOD Vet's asking if we've been doing this for 5 years. Yes, we had our 5-year anniversary last month.
You'd be surprised how long we were wallowing in no man's land where no one knew who the hell we were for basically.
We're still kind of
kind of are, because they'll hit us with copyright strike. They'll hit us with a shadow ban. They do it all the time, like all the time. So this is not surprising.
Hello.
No. Hi.
JG?
Take this off.
Is that JG?
Oh, I can't hear it.
Yes.
Says he can't hear us.
Am I on?
Oh,
Yeah.
1 sec. Okay, you should be able to hear them now.
How's it going, y'all?
Hi, we're good. Is this JG?
Yes. I know I've called in before, and I'll try to be brief. I think the last time I called in, it was about the Epstein stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I guess it's come full circle. I'd like to just say that I am glad that the day is coming. I really think this will break MAGA.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about it?
I think that it's possible that I think MAGA is already breaking because of Israel, actually, because of Ziohel and the America First concept. The fact that Trump was such a big campaigner on releasing the Epstein files and just the complete backtracking on that. Yes, I do think that is a problem for a lot of people. Maybe it's a combination, like a 1-2 thing, because I know that there's definitely a split over the supporting of the Zio state.
JG, I first want to say thank you so much for being an amazing supporter of our channel. We try to do Yeah. No, listen, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, anybody who goes out of their way, not just to watch us, to comment on our, any type of clips that we drop, always here for the live stream. It's another thing entirely to leave a super chat or become a Patreon member, but you are a very special contributor to our show. So I just want to say thank you very much for that. It really means a lot. What do I think is going to happen? Well, I think that what's going to eventually happen is that MAGA is going to split, and it's going to become, on the one side, the America First / sort of libertarian type movement that is going to be led, for better or worse, by somebody like Nick Fuentes. But I also believe you're going to have Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. You'll have a few others sprinkled in, like Dave Smith, that are going to lead this populist uprising that is coming into this country. Like, it's here, and it's growing every day. Then on the other side, which is going to be... No, you had a thought?
Well, my thought is just, I really just think it's a rehashing of what's already been here, because you mentioned the Schofield Bible and that sect of the Christians. Yet there's the other sect that's always been there. I'm lived most of my life in Central Texas. A lot of people don't know this, but the Bund Party, the Germans were training Hitler Youth were in Kerrville, the place where that the flood happened recently.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been a part of the religious doctrine down here. You got the Zionists, and then you got like the Ku Klux Klan, the America Firsters, so to say. And even Chris Hedges has mentioned this a couple of times. They've always loved Nazis because they're a bulwark against communism and against Judaism. which that's the Zoran hate. So that's the faction breaking up. It just took something like the Epstein files to do it. But that's my thoughts.
I think it was inevitable. And I think that it was just one of those
Yeah.
situations where if there is one thing you're noticing, and I pay very close attention to Tucker Carlson is talking like a left populist on a lot of economic issues. And I am not entirely surprised because Tucker in particular is a very social conservative, which again, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But at this point, I will take all the social conservatives I can get in my coalition if they're going to be economically populist. If they are not going to, Marjorie Taylor Greene talks about single payer healthcare now. So we have turned a corner in a big way. But honestly, you're either going to get on board with America First or you're done, because neoliberalism to a lesser extent, because I still think that the Democratic Party has too much of a stranglehold over its, we'll just say, very comfortable base. But the GOP is going to break in terms of factions much faster than the Democrats will, because of who the Democrats appeal to. What is going to be interesting is, where are the left progressive populists going to go? Are they still going to try to be in a dead end situation that's the Democratic Party? Or are they eventually going to recognize that what the populists...
Well, because I think Zoran just got the number one poll. He's basically the de facto leader of the Democrats.
I agree.
They've already made their choices, even over Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
So if that's where Democrats are going, I'd like to join that train.
Well, the good news is, no, I agree. And the good news is that Zoran is not an American-born citizen, which means he can't run for president. Although don't tell that to Ted Cruz. The reality is he's got to be where he is. He's got to be the mayor of New York City and set precedent with key policy initiatives that are very economically populist. And
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody stands in his way, he's got to run over them like Trump, like a freight train. Say, no, this is my party, and now I'm the one in control. He has to make the governor bend to his will, because I'm not going to say that Hochul's not going to beat Stefanik, but at the end of the day, he is very popular, and he just put out a statement saying that if Netanyahu shows his face in New York City, I'm going to arrest him. Like, that's a person who understands this moment and understands what's necessary. So if you're going to follow anyone in terms of populist left politics, Zoran is the guy to follow right now. No two ways about it.
That's all I had to say. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, JG.
Appreciate you,
Nice
brother.
talking to you.
Okay. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.
You too. Colin, who do we have next?
No, Chanel, you're not the only one who does not trust Zoran. The jury's out for me too.
Like I said, let him. He's got his mandate. Let's see what he does with it.
Yeah.
All right, next up, let's try Brian Cole. Brian, if you can unmute, if you're here.
Didn't we already speak?
Did you?
We can.
Did. I think we spoke to him and his phone died, is what I think happened. But we talked to him.
All right, so let's go back to Zoom user.
All the hoopla happened, and we had to close down, and then I came
back. There was a bunch of, okay, so you're back. All right, that's all right. How's it?
Not bad for the old man.
Yeah, I can talk again.
But anyways, yeah, I just, I guess I'll do the same thing that I do when I call due dissidence a little bit. I agree with everything you guys, your takes and stuff are very similar to the way I view the world now. My politics have changed drastically over the last 6 years. So I'm a freelance artist.
How would you say that they've evolved over the last 6 years?
Well, let's just put it this way. I'm a freelance artist. I do a lot of county fairs. I'm in hockey season now. I airbrush garment apparel at hockey tournaments for the little kids. And when COVID hit in March, my whole world ended. Everything I did was gone. So I had to reinvent myself. And then I got locked in my studio and listening to podcasts, I found Revolutionary Blackout Network. I found Useful Idiots, found you guys, all this stuff. And everything that I didn't think about before. You know, I'm 61 now. So I've been living the ignorance is bliss kind of life. Always leaned kind of left. I always believed, you know, housing, food, healthcare should be everybody get right. But then I just started learning the history, you know, the real history of the United States, of the world, stuff behind World War II, the USS Liberty, stuff like that, you know, and of course, Israel and the history behind that and everything. So I just became a lot more radical in my thinking and stuff. And but it's funny because when I'm out drawing characters now at this county fairs, what I find is that I draw people that I can almost guarantee are Trumpers, MAGA, but I talk to them from a non-left right economic thing. So economic populism. And when I talk to them about the economic things and point out certain things, especially MMT, I learned a lot about that over the last 3 years with Steve and everything.
Yeah.
And when you point out that your taxes on a federal level don't pay for anything, it changes the game, you know? And it's, I think that's one of the things I try to get the due dissonance guys involved. I know you've had Steve on, Sabby's had Steve on, but I feel like the left should have Steve and people like him on more often when talking about anything that is economic in base. Because
Really? You think that?
Are you with me, Jen?
Oh, I'm with you. And in fact, this is where my nit is to pick with Keaton, because Keaton and Russell, who are great guys, I've liked them since they've been in this. Like they're on our team, no doubt about it. And I reached out and I have communicated with them both individually, like, you know, off the screen, on and off, right? The last time I reached out to Keaton, I texted him a long time. It was about a year ago at this point, where I suggested that they need to address the modern monetary theory on their show and that they should have Steve on. And now I've been ghosted. So Keaton never responded about that and has not responded. So I have a little bit of a nit to pick with those boys right now. I'm just saying. Yeah. But yes, I agree. They should definitely be focusing on that, since the bulk and gist of what they're fighting for depends on it. Yes,
Nothing the left wants to implement will ever happen if we don't adopt this economic truth. You know, we're going to be fighting the same battles, the how you pay for it and all this stuff. You see MMT in action with the military budget.
Oh yeah.
Nobody ever asked how to pay for that.
No.
It's $1 trillion this year. We're going to go out and conquer some more countries and all that stuff, you know? And it's just, and then they keep saying tax dollars. That's the thing that divides us. The minute you say tax dollars, it's like it's divided, because you're like, well, why am I paying for that? That's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a rallying cry. It's a rallying cry, and they use it and it works, and it's frustrating. So what I like to say is that we're funding it. It's our resources. It's our country. It's our stuff, right? Like, we're definitely funding it. It's that misnomer that it's our tax dollars. So I think that as long as we look at it from a perspective of, yeah, that's our resources. Absolutely. If those resources can be used for that, then our resources could be used for a lot of other things. But we need to get out of the habit of saying it's our tax dollars. And I have tried. If somebody wants to, you know, reach out and tell Keaton that he should respond to my text, because I do not like when people don't respond to me.
Yeah. Even Savvy and Katie and all these other people, they need to start saying public money. That's what Steve says all the time. It's the public money.
Savvy's gotten, you know, ever since Steve went on with Savvy, I have noticed that she does apply
she does
that
mention
concept. Right. So I've seen her on different occasions refer to the concept of MMT in a sense that where she discounts that, it's not your tax dollars. So I appreciated that. And I will say this about Sabby, and this goes for a lot of other things that I've noticed with her. She is extremely bright and receptive to new information. and is very curious about new things and isn't beholden to one way of thinking. And I respect that about her. And there have been other instances that I've seen that with her too. So I appreciate that. So she has now been, you know, sort of MMT-ified. And I think that, yeah, I agree.
Like I said, she's had Steve on a couple times, and when he comes on, you can see in the comments how people are just going, "What? Wait, oh," and Steve explains it in a way that an old man like me can understand. You know, and it's just, it's like you just, it just clicked in my head, and I go, "Oh, well, that makes sense," because, you know, I've always wondered, even before I had MMT, I'm like, how are we borrowing money? Don't we make our money? Doesn't like Congress, like they're the only people that can make it, right? Am I wrong? You know, and then Steve comes in and explains it. And I'm like, well, this is stupid. We're not in debt to anybody. You know, when we pay the interest on these bonds, we just pay the interest on the bonds, you know? And anyways, that's my soapbox. And like I said, keep up the good work. I mean, I love your take.
Tell us your name one more time. I didn't catch it at the top.
My real name is Richard. I go by Illustrative Carp. Although now I might start going by Zoom user. I mean, you know, that's pretty incognito, right?
Richard, I really
find me. No.
Really appreciate you coming on. And yes, economic literacy is the key to left populism succeeding. I definitely agree on that. Thank you so much.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, Colin, who do we have next?
All right, next up, let's try Brian C. Cole again. I saw he had tried to unmute, but we were already talking to Zoom user. But Brian, if you are there, if you're listening to the stream, make sure you're listening to the Zoom call, because that's otherwise it'll be delayed.
Turn off the stream and just be on your Zoom.
Okay, we'll give it another second. If not, we'll go. Okay, we'll go to Jordan Jardine. Just said they fixed their audio, so let's go to them.
Here's hoping.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Jordan.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you again. Hold on a second. Yay. Okay. I'm good.
Good.
Yep. I really enjoyed our chat a couple months ago, so I thought I'd hop on again.
Okay. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, a couple things, actually. First of all, I'm actually glad that the previous person brought this up, because I don't, because, you know, I was trying to listen, but I was also trying to work on getting the feedback thing resolved. And I think part of it was I think I had the stream on and then and also the Zoom, and I think that kind of screwed everything up. But anyway, the point is, when you say, because I want to learn, when you say our tax dollars don't actually pay for anything, like what do you mean when you say that?
Okay. So when I'm saying that, I'm referring to income tax, federal taxes, right? Because our city and state taxes do absolutely pay for things. That's how those work, because those levels of municipality are not currency issuers, but our federal government is a currency issuer, right? So our tax dollars went right. So there's not some woman sitting in a room like a bookkeeper keeping track of all the tax dollars that come in and then say, okay, this is how much money we can spend this year. This is how much money we got. That's not how it works. Money gets spent into existence by Congress, or in theory is supposed to be spent into existence by Congress. And that's it. Our tax dollars are just numbers that are deleted and evaporate into thin air. They go nowhere. There's no receptacle of tax dollars. That's what I mean.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was I'm kind of in a little bit of a conundrum with a friend of mine. I'll give you the backstory real quick. So there was a friend of mine when I was in college. I was sitting alone in one of the dining halls, and she noticed that, and she went and sat with me, which is so, like, it may not sound like a big deal, but for somebody like me who, again, I'm neurodivergent, I have special needs, and nobody would give me the time of day in high school. Even when people would, like, invite me to sit with them, they wouldn't talk to me. So it was like, we'll let you in our presence, but we just won't talk to you, that kind of thing. So here's my point. She is Jewish, and she is one of the most hardcore Zionists I've ever known in my life. Yeah, and I don't really know too many. And it's like, so I'm in this moral conundrum of, like, seeing some of the stuff she posts, like on like she does mostly Instagram, I think, and it's like, I'm like, oh my God, so it's like how can, it's like, because she's totally pleasant and fine with me, but then she has these views that are just like, oh my God. So it's like, how do I square that circle? How do I deal with that? Like, and should I, like, let her go? Should I just, like, because she was really nice to me, and it's like, it's real. So that moral conundrum thing is kind of really hard for me to sort out, and I wanted to get your perspective on it.
That's interesting. I feel like this is more of like a Dear Abby type of like a how to deal with, but I can empathize, with your situation. I have always been of this mindset. Like, for me, like, there are certain people that I've known in my life that while they've been very nice to me, I've seen how they've treated other people, or how they talk to a white person, or how they treat to someone that they think is beneath them. And it definitely, it's not somebody that can stay in my life, because that's just not something that I'm okay with. But I do understand from your perspective that you have, like, your experiences have not been that great with people. So I appreciate that. But unfortunately, somebody who supports the Zio state is probably not someone that you would want to have any further interaction with. So while she was nice to you, that was probably as far as it would be comfortable, because this isn't somebody that you would probably really like if she's on board with genocide.
There's also something to be said for people that have not given up on their Zionist cohorts, or family members for that matter, because they don't want to be outcast. Now, granted, I think the tide has turned to such a degree that now it is the Zionazis that are going to be outcasted, and that's the way it's going to go and how it will ultimately end. But there are still a lot of people who just see it as, well, they're my friend. Well, they're my family. I don't agree with them. There are some lines that, in my opinion, you just don't cross. Like, if you know somebody is a pedophile, for example, the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga, it's like, if you know that that person is that way, I don't care how much money you throw in my direction, I'm not going to protect them. I am not going to defend them. And there are people who will just defend, because life has a balance to it. And if it goes too topsy-turvy, people can't handle the swings.
I think if you like this person, then at some point, if she were to say to you, well, why haven't you been responding, or why aren't you noticing, that you might want to say, well, your position on Israel is difficult for me to deal with. I mean, you don't need to be the person who even brings it up, but I just don't think that you would be one. I don't know. I think it's the reason it's okay is it's superficial right now.
Right. Because, like, what I would do before, because we talked about this issue before, because I studied the, part of the conflict in college, because I was a political science major and I took a Middle Eastern history course. So I know all about the Balfour Declaration, Sykes-Picot, all that stuff, and stuff that she just kind of poo-poos and just kind of glosses over, and so we've talked about this before, and in the past I just kind of, like, sort of rolled over and just, like, agreed with everything she said, just out of because it's not worth the fight. But now post, like, October 7th, for instance, which she totally supports, post October 7th, it's been like, I can't defend this stuff anymore. I can't, because number one, I never believed in it anyway. And number two, it's just not, it's like you can't defend the indefensible, so,
Yes.
so it's just been really, really difficult for me. So I wanted to, to get your perspective on that, because even though we've only had a couple of conversations, honestly, you're somebody that I really trust and I really respect, both of you, as a matter of fact. So I just wanted to get your perspective on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think we are just at a time with what's going on right now that this isn't one of those agree to disagree situations. And that's
True.
just where I'm at on it. And I know that there's people that are a lot more tolerant than I am.
Right.
I'm not known for patience and tolerance. So that's
Right.
just not my,
and it's harder for me because I converted to Islam. So it's like, do I betray my Muslim friends and like keep tolerating this kid, or like,
No.
it's like, what do I do?
You don't do that. Yeah.
So anyway,
hang in there, man.
Keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you calling, and
thank you.
We will be. In the end, justice will prevail. That's how I see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
brother.
you.
Take care, Jordan.
Thank you.
All right, Colin. Who do we have next, my friend?
Okay, next up we have Justin Salman. If you can unmute, Justin.
Hello?
Hi, is this Justin?
Yeah. I'm usually Shaitan the Dawn in your chat.
Oh,
You're
cool.
who in the chat? Wait, who?
Shaitan the Dawn.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Jen,
Good.
Peter? I've been watching the show for about half a year now. You guys are usually on during the last 2 hours of my shift, so it really makes the time go by. I appreciate it.
Glad.
Honestly, it's probably one of the true joys of what we do, because we know that there are a lot of people that work late nights, working class jobs, etc., where if we are providing a service, if you will, to make your job more tolerable in terms of the time going by, I've been there, man. I've worked jobs in the past where I needed to either hear that music or that talk radio, if you will, as a distraction. So if we're providing, then we're extremely grateful that we were able to provide that levity in that respect.
Yeah, thank you so much. Where do I start? The thing the last dude was talking about is very relatable to me from the other end, where I've always been the kind of person in my friend group that's like too woke, I guess you could say. And after the October 7th thing happened, a lot of my Christian and Muslim friends turned against the state of Israel, thankfully. And but what I noticed is all of them turned against Israel in the anti-Semitic way, unfortunately, despite me being Palestinian and Puerto Rican and being much more informed than them on the subject. I just couldn't find a way to get through to them to help them understand this is not a anti-Semitic thing. This is a military-industrial complex capitalist problem. What are some ways you guys would think would be the best to like break through to people like that?
Well, in terms of the anti-Semitism, I constantly try to remind people, and look, is there a portion of the population that's always going to hate Jews because of their association with usury throughout history? Absolutely. That's never going to change. However, do I think that it is imperative that people recognize the importance of language when it comes to the situation we're faced with right now? 1,000%. Anyone who says, and I look to the people at the very top, particularly the very, we'll just say, nationalistic conservatives like Jake Shields and Dan Bilzerian and, of course, Nick Fuentes. If you turn this into it's a Jew problem, the only people who benefit from that statement are Zionists. They're counting on you to keep saying it's a Jew problem because that's how they stay in power. If you make it a Zionist Jewish problem, which it is, and a Christian Zionist problem, which it is, language is very important when it comes to this distinction. Because as we saw, particularly in New York City, with a Muslim Indian socialist becoming mayor of New York City, as one of our viral clips recently pointed out from that Zionist rabbi on the Upper West Side, in the most capitalist city in the world. And he won, despite all the things that they claim. And how did he win? He won because he got about 40% of the Jewish vote to come to his side. Now, if you ask me, you can't just put them all in one box and say that they're all a bunch of, all the Jews are, supremacists and they hate everybody else. It's not true. So
yeah, it's nonsense.
We must be clear as day. And as you can see, we're going to continue to have people like this in the chat who are going to say what they're going to say. Who gives a shit?
Not for long.
Let them say it.
I don't want to. I reject that.
Well, that's actually another thing I wanted to address, is because I do understand the Nick Fuentes perspective, if you would allow me to break it down, basically. When he talks about organized Jewry, he's not talking about, the most racist nonsense you could think of like a cabal of Jews gathering around a crystal ball and doing magic. What he's saying is, in Christian Zionist churches, in Zionist synagogues, in Zionist super PACs, this is basically what he means by organized Jewry. It's people embedding themselves into every organization in order to reach their goals.
Well, what I would say in regards to that, in regards to when Jen ran against Wasserman Schultz, there is organized Jewry in Congressional District 25, and it isn't just Jews. There are people that will basically, particularly certain members of the Black community, who will get on their hands and knees for Wasserman Schultz. Why? Because they're willing to play the role of the House Negro in order to facilitate the Zionist Jewish supremacy domination that is the area that they're living in. And why do they do it? Because they get paid. Because it's a career.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. It's very simple. I always say, everything is about money and power. You just got to show me the details, and I'll show you exactly how it works. That's what's going on in Venezuela. That's what's going on in Gaza. That's what's going on in Ukraine. That is what, God forbid, is going to happen in Taiwan and in a plethora of other places. There is always the trace directly to the money and power infrastructure. And that's what ends up happening. When you have a tiny little country that gets tens of billions of dollars on paper, this is not even counting the money that you can't see. When you talk about that type of money, a lot of, I can't even say a lot, but a nice chunk of that money is for bribery. Again, another trope, but it's the truth. A lot of it is based on
from the American taxpayer.
Well,
it is from the American taxpayer, but it's not from our tax dollars. I mean, it's our money collectively, but yes.
And believe me, some people are a lot easier to bribe than others. Some people don't want much. Some people want a lot. Some people get a lot. We know who those people, we know who they are. We see them on social media all the time. And this system is breaking down now. It's finally breaking down because throughout history, I look at this, Jen and I have talked about this off the channel multiple times regarding the Italian mafia, particularly in its heyday when it was very, very powerful in New York and Chicago. And what they had in common and why they were so revered in many cases, they were vicious animals in many respects. But the one thing everybody always knew about certain neighborhoods in New York, like Bensonhurst and Sheepshead Bay, Chicago Outfit, and parts of the south side of Chicago, what no one would ever question is that despite their criminal activity, these guys took care of their community. Mayor Daley took care of his citizenry in the city of Chicago, even though he was a crook, and everyone knew that he was. But that's the difference. The people were taken care of, so there was an acceptance of, let's say, not so kosher activities. Today, we're living in a country where most people do not have a pot to piss in. They don't have health care. They don't have a living wage. Their air is dirty. Their soil is poisoned. Their water is contaminated. There's endless war and the planet's on fire. So to say that we are reaching a breaking point because the economic strife is forcing the hand of people who do not want any part of this system anymore, we're in a revolutionary period. And the first domino that's going to fall is the state of Israel. That's who's going first. How we coalesce against the broken governmental system that is the United States of America post the breaking of the Israel relationship is going to be the key, because we're already in that period. We're seeing how Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin and many others are losing their minds because they don't know
I
what
love to see it.
Oh, yeah, who doesn't? Like, honestly, that's catnip. You know how there's catnip for the shitlibs that always want to see shit about Trump? Well, the real catnip for people who truly care about this country is watching people like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro go down in flames. Like, to me,
That's why it's so disappointing to see people on the left siding with the Ben Shapiros of this, just because they think the America First crowd is anti-Semitic. I think even if they are to some extent anti-Semitic, you know, the Holocaust was 80 years ago. People in the Middle East are being holocausted as we speak. We need to get our priorities straight when it comes to that sort of thing.
Jen, your thoughts?
Yeah. You know, it concerns me as a Jewish person. I do think that people like Nick Fuentes and those incel gripers and whoever these guys are stirring up a lot of anti-Jewish sentiment. I deal with it in the chat. I'm dealing with it right now. That is very real. It's very real. But I recognize that it's the inevitable connection that's being made between Zionism and Judaism, that's just what's going to happen. It's just what's going to happen. I do think that people like Nick Fuentes are anti-Jewish. I do think he has a very anti-Jewish sentiment about him. He's not somebody that I follow. I don't like that. I think that people that are always trying to convince other people that the others are the problem, or punching down, or quite also punching sideways, is not very productive. It's just not productive. And what people like Nick Fuentes does, and what people like Charlie Kirk did, was make money by telling people that othering is okay and punching down is okay, and it isn't. So I'm never going to be on board with that shit. And I do think that people like him are fostering hatred of Jews that we don't need. But I understand that it's inevitable based on what Ziohel is doing. So
yeah,
that's where I am.
And this is part of the reason.
Yeah, I understand that completely.
Yep. And if you guys check out the clip that I dropped earlier from Saturday night regarding Ezra Klein going after Nick Fuentes, he's going after him because he knows that he is a Trojan horse. He knows, because Ezra Klein is a Zion-Nazi of the highest order, that he can use Fuentes to further the Zionist cause, because Fuentes wants to do away with the Zio state, but he also frames it as a handful of others with big platforms. Nobody is as big as Fuentes when it comes to using a platform and considering it a Jewish problem. He changes his language every once in a while because he's very good at what he does. But at the same time, you cannot deny that there is this anti-Jewish sentiment that has grown leaps and bounds, and it is growing leaps and bounds because there's also a lot of people in the Jewish community who are not Zionists, but they keep their mouth shut. And frankly, at this point, if you get sucked into this as a result of you keeping your mouth shut, I don't have any sympathy for you. I just don't. People are dying. They are dying every day. These fucking children are freezing to death and being starved to death. So take both of them. How about both? How about you freeze and starve? How's that sound? But my feelings are hurt. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like Candace Owens says, I don't give a shit. At this point.
That's why you guys are my favorite pro-Palestine channel by far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we can't thank you enough for your support, and it's always great to hear from you. And of course, keep it up in the chat. Have a wonderful holiday season. And
if I could share one last thing,
sure.
With the meta bans, you guys reported on the meta bans like a day after my 12-year-old 500 follower Instagram account got nuked because I had posted a dead Palestinian baby, and I've only used that account for Jim and sharing my thoughts on the Palestinian cause, because like I said, I'm Palestinian. I've been using that account for that purpose for forever. And I just want to let everybody know, like, be careful, share what you think is important, but they are cracking down. We are in a censorship regime.
Oh yeah.
And
Yes.
they flagged me for child porn because of the or sorry, that might get the thing banned, but they flagged me for that over the baby, which is just terrible. I'm gonna have that on my record now, which is, like, if you want to shut me up, that's one thing, but to like put this on me is just a whole nother thing.
Just remember.
So just be careful, guys.
Yep. Just remember, and we'll conclude the conversation on this thought. If they have to resort to those tactics, it means they know that their time is almost up, because they have no other. They have no other.
Yes, they're desperate. They're desperate to control the narrative that they've lost control of.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, guys. You have a good night.
Absolutely.
Same to you. Free Palestine. Colin, we've got time for one more caller. Who do we got?
Okay, next up, Giberson. Looks like he's ready.
Oh, is it Guy?
Guy?
Hey, guys.
Hey,
How are you?
Guy.
Good to see you.
How are you?
All right. I'm well. Thanks for asking.
Can you believe how this channel's taken off since you first got involved way back when?
Yeah, it's super cool. Super cool. It's always fun to see it go nowhere but up.
Yeah.
So it's the first time I've ever been on the ground floor of anything. So it's about time.
And let Guy in on the not so good news about you in South Florida.
Oh yeah, I am leaving South Florida. That is happening.
I mean, I can't blame you.
Exactly.
If I could escape, I would too. Yeah. If it was a choice. But
I do have a little bit of good news.
I'm with you. I understand.
I have a little bit of good news to report. So in addition to a friend, Mayor of Dania Beach, AJ Ryan, who is running for county commission in Broward County, Kat Uden is now running for Hollywood Commission seat 1. And I think he's very likely going to win that seat. So it's not totally.
Wait, who's seat 1 right now?
I don't recall the person, but I know that they really want to get her in there because apparently Josh Levy is circling the wagons for seats 3 and 5. There's this whole cabal in Hollywood.
I'm so glad to be leaving that crap. Oh my God, I'm so thankful.
It's as Trump says, it's not good. Totally not good. But hey, you gotta take the wins where you can get them. And Kat Uden, of anybody who has run for office in South Florida that is not Jen Perelman, Kat Uden is right at the top as far as.
Yeah, she's great. Kat's great.
Yep.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I have my family that's still there. I moved up north a little bit. I still haven't gotten out of Florida yet, but
where are you?
I'm not. St. Lucie County. I'm in Port St. Lucie. I have my office in Jupiter.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. I had to move closer to my daughter, who's never going to leave Orlando.
I was just going to say, you managed to get out of the Tri-County area. That's a start.
It's a start.
Yeah, my mom and my aunt still live in my house there that you guys know about. But
sure.
But I had to move closer to my daughter. She's never going to leave Orlando for, that's just the way it is. But I couldn't be that far away from her. I don't know. I suspect, is that part of the reason you're leaving, Jen? Is your
it is.
Your kids move out of state?
Yeah, my older is now in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area. He just relocated there. And this area that I'm looking to move is less than 2 hours from that. So, and it's closer to my parents. It's like 4 hours from my parents. It's a pretty central location. Whereas when I'm in South Florida, I'm driving, 12 hours to see them. I can't be there anymore. There's too many Teslas. There's too many Zios. I can't. I just can't.
I understand. Well, I do have a question for you guys because I hope it's not because I don't watch the show enough, because I confess it's probably, like a third of the episodes I'm able to watch. But what's up with Matt Taibbi? Do you know? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure what caused
Compromise? I don't. Something.
Yeah,
something happened.
He seems to be compromised. I don't know what it is. We've had him on a couple of times, and I used to have a lot of respect for him. But now he's out here like promoting Barry Weiss, and like I think that either somebody made him an offer he couldn't refuse, or he's just, I don't know, maybe he's had a lobotomy. I don't know what happened to Matt.
Well, that's the nature of politics. If you make him an offer he can't refuse, and he shouldn't refuse, because Charlie had an offer that he decided to refuse.
Yeah, Charlie refused the offer.
But that's
a good point. I mean, I actually kind of feel sorry for him, really, because it seems like because I've read so much of his stuff over the years, I feel like his heart really is in the right place. Like he couldn't have produced what he did for as long as he did and not be like a good person. So something happened. Yeah.
Something happened. Anyways. But unfortunately in his world, in our world, you're kind of only as good as your last article.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you can only live off of a reputation from 10 years ago for so long. Like
I agree.
Look, I completely agree. Peter played the clip of Bill Maher on Saturday that compared Bill Maher 10 years ago when he was supporting Bernie Sanders to Bill Maher now, who's like this like Red Scare anti-socialist, lunatic now. And so sometimes people, they're just compromised along the way.
Oh, yeah. And that's why Whitney Webb says it's one nation under blackmail. And it's true. Some people are able to get into positions of power almost unexpectedly. But at this point, it's inevitable that we're heading towards a revolutionary situation because people don't trust the system anymore. It's one thing if you don't trust the voting machines. Who the hell would? On top of that, you have not just Wasserman Schultz, even though she's one of the most egregious, but you basically have a consensus amongst federally elected representatives that insider trading is perfectly acceptable behavior, especially when it comes to war profiteering. Of all the things that they invest their money in, they invest their money in killing more Palestinians. Like, that's a level of demented behavior that is so inhumane and so sociopathic. Because it's like, well, I know it's terrible, but it's good for my bottom line, and that's what matters. Well, something happened with Taibbi where they made him an offer he couldn't refuse. You decided that you were going to do business with Elon Musk. Who the hell knows what he either has on you, what he is claiming to have on you, even if it's not true, you can make it true. He tried to get away from Musk, and the next thing you know, everything changes.
And now he's pimping for Barry Weiss.
Yeah, this is the whole thing.
Right? It's so bad for his career. It has to be so bad for his career that there's something that we don't know that happened. I think that's the only explanation.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's the whole thing about Charlie Kirk. We've been saying it since it happened. It's one thing to not want to do business with Israelis or the Zionist cause. It's another thing entirely if you do business with them and then you decide you're not doing business with them anymore. It is La Cosa Nostra. Once you commit to Omerta, you are in for life. The only way you're getting out is in a body bag. That's it. So he had to find out the hard way, as did a lot of other people. That's why you've got Brandon Talmud Tatum, if you will, another one of these conservative commentators who's taking that money, and he is never going to stop until Israel is no more. That's it. He made his bed. Now he's going to sleep in it, because if he attempts to do the same thing, well, see Exhibit A. That's the way I see it. And I do feel bad for people that are either trying to do an honest job or in desperate financial straits and feel that they have to do certain things. But once they get you, they've got you. The question is, when does it end? I don't know. But We're trying to use our platform for all it's worth to play a small part in making sure that it does.
A bigger part all the time. All right, guys. Well, it's nice checking in with you. It was fun.
Good talking to you, Guy.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, see you.
We'll be talking.
You too.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
We want to thank you guys very much for joining the call in tonight. Despite
wait, for people who don't know, that last caller, Guy, is one of our $25 patrons and has been so since the very beginning of our Patreon.
Yes.
And is somebody that's been supportive of my congressional runs and is someone that's just been very supportive in general. So that's why it was familiar. Yeah.
If you guys are enjoying this conversation and would like to see more of them going forward, please consider again going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change, where as little as $5 a month will give you access to calling in the next time we do a call-in segment. So keep that in mind. And of course, to our super chatters who are contributing, Joseph George with the $5, Color Revolution in Mexico. Well, let me tell you, Jen, there was a protest in Mexico City against President Sheinbaum, claiming that this was a Gen Z protest. But when you got a good look at the age of the people that were protesting Sheinbaum, well, it was kind of a giveaway, wasn't it? Listen, I'm sure there are people who are living in Venezuela who hate Maduro, but they don't know the full circumstances, as to why
it's generally a class divide. It's a class divide. And I would think it's the same thing with Sheinbaum.
100%. If you watch videos of Sheinbaum, she is a hero to working people in that country. And when you're a hero to working people, there is going to be a part of the ruling class that is going to be very upset about that, because in their mind, poor people are supposed to be poor so they can be rich. That's their philosophy. That's how they think it works.
Yeah.
Our wonderful friend and a hero in many ways, Anthony Aguilar with the $4.99. It's a genocide, an ecocide. The zones were always the plan. It's evil. That's putting it very nicely.
Interesting that Anthony puts that out there, because, and Anthony, you got to put a little less of a serious picture of yourself. Like, you're much cuter than that avatar picture. But anywho, what he's pointing out is very true. The zones were always the plan. But what people don't realize is the same organization, that Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, that's that bullshit organization that Anthony was affiliated with while he was over there. That's the same people. The same people in charge of that organization are the same people that created the plan of the zones, which is something I also garnered from Ben Norton on his report about this. The same people that brought you the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation are the same people that have created this red zone, green zone plan, if you will, basically just cutting their concentration camp borders in half. That plan is from the same people as the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
Something's going to happen with Kushner. Just a feeling. And with the $4.99 again, 550 to 600 trucks a day, every day, steady state. Now about 2,000 trucks are needed to meet the acute need. Trump is complicit. I said it at the top, 2,000. That's the number. Great minds think alike, don't they? Appreciate you, my friend, very, very much. Libertarian Social Democrat became a YouTube member. Thank you very much, my friend. We appreciate it.
That's what Peter is really. Peter is a libertarian. Peter is really, I would say that is you're a libertarian social democrat.
Yeah. Libertarian populist left. That's where I fall. And
where am I?
Where are you?
Where am I?
Red Beret. Anthony Aguilar with the $1.99. Love you both. Love the show. We love you too.
And I believe, guys, Anthony, I believe, is going to be on Punch Up on Thursday.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah. So you guys can have Jacob Berger on our show and then go over to Punch Up and watch Anthony over there, which would be awesome. Yeah.
JG with the 5 Revolutionary Change memberships. Really enjoyed the conversation, and thank you so much for continuing to help build our channel. It really means a lot. And not to be outdone, another $5 from JG. Thanksgiving is coming. We all have to deal with different points of view. Still love. Yeah. But I have to tell you, Thanksgiving with Pop and Lisa is actually quite easy. Like it's actually.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's always easy for you, Peter. You never have to host it. You're one of those people that never host. So yes, Thanksgiving for somebody who never hosts is always easy.
I'm talking about the dinner conversation.
Okay.
Although to Lisa's credit, Lisa, she puts her foot down. Like at Thanksgiving dinner, there is no politics. It does not enter the conversation. It's not.
I hear you.
So that definitely helps a lot, I'm sure. Our trusty mod with the 5 Canadian A, people bashing on Jews and Muslims usually aren't bright or nuanced enough to understand that by doing so, they are helping the Zionazi establishment. Let me tell you something. I am not entirely convinced that Nick Fuentes, Dan Bilzerian, Jake Shields, that they're not being paid to say what they're saying. This is enterprising, ladies and gentlemen.
Hold on one second. Holla, you want none of that. You want none of that. Okay, continue.
So it would not surprise me, without question, that this is a big deal. What were you saying? Not want any part of what? What are you talking about?
Holla's trying to set you up with her daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Holla, save her. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't.
Peter doesn't do well with others.
Excuse me? No, I'm just saying that Jen wants me to be as miserable as her. So, I can't.
Oh, yes, that's what.
Thank you. But I am actually, I can't. Let's just say that I don't need to be set up with anybody. I appreciate that, though. Libertarian Social Democrat with the 499. Being overly woke is why Chile might get a far-right president who can make Milei look like Nelson Mandela.
That's very unfortunate.
Yeah. Listen,
I'll have to investigate what's going on in Chile and talk about that at some point too. I mean, it's like we don't have enough hours to talk about all the different things all around the world. That's what I'm saying. Like we could almost do a segment for each continent and we're still not going to be able to cover.
Well, this is again the whole point about Scheinbaum. It's like if she threw in a little bit of woke politics here and there, no one would give a shit because her entire platform is based on economic populism. Like that's a huge part of who she is. So if in Chile they are not focusing on the needs of the most in need, then it's inevitable that things are going to go in the direction they're going to go in. I would say that the fact that we're not in a complete full-on revolutionary situation here in the United States as of this moment, I think the only reason it hasn't happened is because we are kind of a police state already. You're seeing what ICE is doing, but you're seeing how people are fighting back against it. So it's inevitable as far as I can see that we're heading in that direction. And so with that said, thank you very much. Well, I mean, I guess we kind of act like it sometimes. I want people to understand that despite how bleak things look right now, the future is somewhat bright because it is obvious that the Zio-Nazi state is running out of real estate. They just are. And so while I did my segment regarding one form of Jen, could you just briefly explain to the audience that AIPAC is just one of many of these nonprofit organizations that these Zio-Nazi scum hide behind and use it to further their cause?
Yeah, I mean, for people who are interested in further reading, the Israel Lobby book by Walt and Mearsheimer is probably the best primer on the entire lobby that is the Israel Lobby. But yes, AIPAC is just one of many Jewish Zionist organizations, both of those things, that are funding our government, funding our politicians, and compromising them on behalf of the state of Israel. But AIPAC has become the most notable one, and especially over the past 5 years in terms of how much money they've been putting into our elections. But yeah, the Israel Lobby is much bigger than just AIPAC.
So this is the president of the World Jewish Congress. His name is Ronald Lauder. If you think the censorship on Facebook, on TikTok, on corporate news, on this channel is bad, well, guess what? It's not enough. Just as I said, you can never be pro-Israel enough. You can never be pro-censorship enough if you support the Zion-Nazi state, which is crumbling before our very eyes. And here's what Mr. Lauder had to say.
Schools are not enough. The entire education system in this country, from K through 12 and colleges, must be reformed. Laws must be passed that will focus on three things: no racism, no anti-Semitism, and no anti-Western civilization should be taught here.
No, we don't want any contradictory opinions of any kind that will not go in line with our narrative. And by the way, the interesting thing about what he said, so there won't be racism. Zionism is the most racist ideology there is right now that we're dealing with. Zionism is the most complete racist thing. So it's interesting that he's saying we won't teach racism and we won't teach anti-Semitism. Yeah, if you're teaching Zionism, you are by definition teaching racism.
I would also say that when you have to resort to censorship, you've lost. It's over. Because you can't stand on merit. There is none. You have to silence people. That's why, because, and again, this is kind of like the final, it's the final step. When the Zionist billionaire class, led by Larry Ellison, has to literally buy CBS News and stick Barry Weiss in charge of programming, anyone with a slightly objective eye is going to look at that and say, yeah, this doesn't look good. How could it? But yet to this crypt keeper of a human, in his mind, they haven't gone far enough. They have to do more. We must censor more. But he's got more to say.
Yeah.
I need to remind you that anti-Semitism is not new. Even here in the United States, it's just that we haven't seen it in 3 generations. But in the 1930s, there was a strong vocal and even pro-Nazi movement that captured the public attention with famous names like Charles Lindbergh and Father Conklin, the radio priest with millions of listeners who attacked us every single day. Father Conklin was the Tucker Carlson of the 1930s, and radio was the TikTok and YouTube of the era.
One of the more unheralded aspects of their demise and what they are facilitating right now is this idea that they are going to go full bore against Tucker Carlson. It's one thing to go full bore against Nick Fuentes, which I also believe is a fool's errand. But going after Tucker Carlson, you're a moron, like a full-blown moron. Tucker Carlson.
Is it really any different than them going after Miss Rachel? It's the same thing. You're going after somebody that is very established, has their own fan base, doesn't need you, you need them, that whole kind of premise, and has fuck you money. It's a bad plan. It's a losing plan.
You could say that again.
Henry Ford, the industrialist and multimillionaire, was another anti-Semitine. Even President Roosevelt, who was seen as an ally of the Jewish people, closed Americans' doors to Jews in Europe who were desperate to find a country, any country, that would take them in.
Mm-hmm. And why is that? Do you know why that is?
Why
did everybody shut their doors to the Jews trying to escape the Nazi Holocaust? Why?
I don't know. Can you fill me in on that?
Do you not know why?
I don't remember.
Part of the Zionist agenda. Part of the Zionist agenda was that, and we were right along with that, because the United States didn't take the Jews that were trying to flee. We turned those boats right back around and made them go back there. And that's because, as part of the Zionist agenda, was to be able to get all of the Jews to Israel to establish the Jewish majority and create the homeland. That was the plan. And they did that in conjunction, not just with the Jews that were trying to flee from Nazi Germany and having them be turned away, but they did that also in line with our West Asia fiefdom kingdoms, places like Iraq, places like at the time Syria, that were willing to expel the Jews who had been living very peacefully there for many, many, many generations. But all of a sudden, those Jews were now being expelled because the Zionist state needed them to build up their numbers to be able to maintain their Jewish supremacy in that place. So the anti-Jewish sentiment that was riled up all over was done by the Zionists in coordination with the Zionists to satisfy the Zionist agenda and get as many Jews as possible to Israel.
So what you're
that's always been part of the Zionist agenda, is to oppress the Jews all around the world, make them be in a way where there's no other safe place for them to be, and then funnel them into the Zionist state.
So you're saying that the Zionist agenda in the 1930s, by and large, led to the Holocaust, the final solution, if you will?
No. I'm saying that when they were turned away, and one of the main reasons that Jews were turned away that were fleeing from the Holocaust was because Israel needed them to come there for their numbers. And that is also the reason why so many of the Arabic nations had expelled the Jews around the same time as right around the time after the Nakba, because the Jews were trying to build up their numbers and have their, Jewish state. And so the Jews being kicked out of the countries I would say that's more of an Arabic region where that happened, along with the Jews being turned down that were escaping Nazi persecution. Those things happened at the same time. So I would say it was post-Holocaust and around the time as the Jews were being expelled from Arabic states, because that's what was the Zionist agenda.
Continue.
Today, we see a similar pattern playing right in front of our eyes. Big names with millions of followers are using the same old lies that Jews control the government, the media, our nation's foreign policies. The same lies our parents and grandparents heard, only now it's been adopted by young people.
Oh, no, not the young people.
And yet this guy is talking about the Jews buying up media and silencing people, and all the while just continuing to prove what everyone suspects is true. You're proving them right. Do they not hear themselves when they talk? I often wonder if they're deliberately not paying attention. I do.
There's just a lot of self-absorption. This is someone who's surrounded by people and has been for probably his entire adult life that have told him his shit don't stink. So when you're one of those people like Trump, like these people that just are surrounded by sycophants and yes men, you have very little self-awareness.
We'll finish it up.
Who've been indoctrinated in this. We must retake our schools. It's only a question of money, laws. We lost one generation that's been brainwashed.
Brainwashed?
Yeah, Jessica, this is what I'm saying. This is what I was saying. I know they didn't. It wasn't that they were expelled as much as they were made an offer. I get it. No, that's what I was saying. They were doing it at the behest of the Zionists. It wasn't that they were being forcefully kicked out. It was manipulation. It was a manipulation. That is what I was saying. Correct.
We also, because it seems like Rechtenwald has been playing the Azapac ad on, I'm guessing X is where a lot of these guys are seeing it. We need to be playing those ads. And if I have to drop them myself, I will. But we need to be playing them on X too. Most of our content, guys, for our PAC is showing up on Instagram, maybe TikTok. I don't know if they're kicking.
And probably Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, we're doing really good on Facebook. So yeah, but we should have it on X too, because we have lots of ads that are out there.
So did you mention that to the team of people that are doing our ads?
I'm thinking of it now because I'm noticing that people are talking about.
I'm not sure what the reasoning is. You would need to check in with that group chat.
But as you can see, how old would you think this guy is? 85? No, like what, 90, not 85, 90, somewhere there.
I have no frame of reference because I have friends like Susie. So, you know.
That's true. Well, let's just say he's ancient.
Okay.
And he's from a time where he's probably also benefited significantly from this NGO, if you will, this nonprofit organization that has probably have had tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars funneled through it over many, many years. And they're starting to recognize that people are not on board with this anymore. And they are never, they're like, oh, well, maybe if we just censor everybody, we'll be able to get them on board with us again. No, it's over. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, I feel like, and I've said this also about the Democrats. I feel like it's in the sixth sense where they're dead, but they don't know they're dead. That's how I feel about the Zio state. It's dead. It just hasn't reached the end yet. Right. So it doesn't realize it yet, but yes, it's never coming back.
There. Yeah, we're getting there.
We're never coming back from this.
No, this is, they put the line in the sand. They are in the hog stage. They are inevitably going to fall. And it couldn't happen to better people, I guess you would say.
Can I explain this? Can I explain this? Jessica Robert is asking, she doesn't get how Jews as an ethnicity can be Arabs or Persians. It's either one of them. No, Judaism is a religion, thousands and thousands of years old religion. And Jews exist in all different colors all around the world, just like Muslims. And there are many Jews that are from West Asia. There's Palestinian Jews. Jesus was one of them. That's how you know they are, that Jesus was a Palestinian Jew. So that is who they are. You have Iranian Jews. Those are Persian Jews. You've got Jews that are from the Levant region, which is anything from Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine. And there have always been Jews. There's a very large Jewish population in Iran, and they are Iranian Jews. They're very peaceful, coexist happily.
It's actually the largest population in the Middle East outside of Israel.
Yes. Well, I would say in Asia, as it's not the Middle East, because unless we're the far West.
Okay.
So, yeah. But so that's why, because Jewish is a religion and there are Jews all over. We're everywhere. But so that's why. And it's just the way it is. Yes, they're Yemeni Jews, the Yemeni Jews and the African Jews, the Ethiopian Jews. Those people have the most closest genetic ties to the original Israelites, to the Canaanites, to the people that are the Palestinians. And that's why I think there is so much solidarity when we hear what's going like with the Yemeni, with the Palestinians. I think that and also they're just also very oppressed people, but yes, Judaism is a religion. Jews can't step into Iraq, Yemen ever again. That's just not true. That's just not true. It's just not true. Now, I would say those places are not safe for most people right now because we're so invested in killing off so many people in those regions. But yes, there are Jews of all continents and colors and, well, not Antarctica probably, but we're everywhere.
Oh, keep complaining.
Why would we want to do that?
Because people just want to complain. The fact of the matter is, Wolfgang Felix, who doesn't like our channel, asked, do we make money?
But he's been here all night.
Can I speak, please? So just so you guys know, when the ads play, if they're short ads, 15 to 30 seconds, we would really appreciate it if you let them run. Why? Because that's one of the ways that you can contribute to our channel without having to make a contribution. Because that is a contribution. It's actually a financial contribution.
Sam, I hate the term Arabs.
Dude, listen, you know what? If you feel the need to troll or to rage watch our channel, you're probably not the only one who's doing it. So, hey, but peace and love and have a nice day.
Just stop giving this person. Jessica says, I agree with you, but I don't think in the sense that's their ethnicity. They're not.
So I'm guessing that AZAPAC probably did like a major push of this ad. Like really,
they did a big ad. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have several ads that are out there, guys.
You're right, Wolfgang. We should never make money, right? Like we're fighting for all the right things, but we should also take a vow of poverty, and we shouldn't be able to make any money in doing what we're doing and spending hours doing research and putting together stories to do a presentation for people. You're right. We shouldn't get paid for that at all, right?
Hey,
we should just be doing it for free, because quite honestly, I've been working for free for the past 5 years doing this, and only very recently have we been able to have any money that's been coming in, and I have been funding this venture before that.
Colin, please pull up the ad if you can grab it. We'll play it before we go off the air. We want to give a big shout out to our final super chatters of the evening, because we did have a few more. And Libertarian Social Democrat, my partner in crime. I can't leave West Israel. Please interview Scott Jewett, Libertarian for Florida governor. And he is a pragmatic Libertarian. Let's hope he passes AZAPAC. $4.99. Thank you. Well, always open to AZAPAC, Colin. AZAPAC.
I don't know where it was played. I just know that Sabby covered it on her channel. So,
or somebody has a link to it. They want to drop it in the chat. Please do. Libertarian Social Democrat with the $1.99. Please interview Larry Sharp, Libertarian for New York governor. He's actually pretty cool. Larry Sharp, I would definitely have him on. Rachel, if you can just mark that down, I would look into getting Larry Sharp on. He'd be cool. JG with the $5. Charles Lindbergh was America First leader. I mentioned that too. Hitler's summer camps in Kerrville, Texas. He said it too. Hey, there's a reason why Hitler appealed to a lot of people. Libertarian Social Democrat with the $4.99. I have a soft spot for MTG for a while. She does not have the typical MAGA women vibe look. I always compare her to Blanche from the Golden Girls.
I love a Golden Girls reference. That's for sure.
Thank you for being a friend, Liberal Social Democrat.
Thank you for being a friend.
And Nazik Hugh, thank you very much for the $5 super sticker. Really appreciate your support.
Wanker Tanker, AZAPAC is anti-Zionist America political or public political action committee. They're a PAC that is fighting for candidates that are speaking out against the Zio state. And we also have our PAC, which is Revolutionary Change PAC. And we also had the AZAPAC man on our show. It's Michael Rechtenwald is his name. And we're comrades with them.
Colin, is this the one? Colin, is this it?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm adding it right now.
Oh, okay, because I saw something. I thought that this
there
was
it.
Is. I apologize. Okay.
All right, so let's watch this ad from AZAPAC.
Let's see. Maybe we can learn a thing or two about how we should be doing ads. Seems to be everybody.
Anytime you want to make a comment in the group chat, go for it.
Thank you so much for the $4.99.
Thank you, Hala.
Being here. All right, here we go.
The United States of America did not begin with a revolution against tyranny, only to serve a foreign nation state. But the fact is, our government acts like the servant of another country. That other country is, of course, the State of Israel. That's not policy. That's a national disgrace. I'm Michael Rechtenwald, founder of the Anti-Zionist America Political Action Committee, or AZAPAC. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? The U.S. government has been hijacked by forces loyal to Israel. Does Congress represent us? No. With rare exceptions, they work for Israel. These aren't your elected reps, they're puppets. And their strings are pulled by donors loyal to the modern nation state of Israel. This isn't an alliance, it's extortion. While we're scraping by, eggs at $6 a dozen, rent or mortgage devouring our paychecks, Our leaders have funneled over $21 billion to Israel in 2 years, not counting the cost of U.S. engagements in the region at Israel's behest. The total cost to U.S. taxpayers in service of Israel is an estimated $33 billion since October 7th, 2023. That's on top of the $3.8 billion sent Israel every year. Billions that could fix our roads. Billions that could fund our schools. Billions that could house our veterans. Billions that could ease your burden. But no, they fund endless Israeli aggression instead. Israel, the largest recipient of U.S. aid in history. Israel, the country that bombed the USS Liberty. Israel, the country using our weapons to mass murder innocents. 20,000 children, to be exact.
No. About 500,000.
He's going with the official numbers, which we know are bullshit. But yeah, this is a great commercial. I think it's great. People are asking in the chat the difference between PACs and super PACs. I am not sure what kind of PAC Asa PAC is. We forgot to ask him when he was on, like, what kind of PAC they are. Our PAC, our Revolutionary Change PAC right here, wherever it is, we are a super PAC. We are a super PAC. We have no limitations, and we can take money from whoever we want. That's how they want to play this game, so that's how we're going to play.
Gaza ripped off the mask. We all watched the live-streamed horrors. The money extorted from us funds crimes against humanity, what genocide scholars and dozens of humanitarian organizations call a genocide. This blind allegiance, this veto on our national sovereignty, this denial of reality must end. We've had more than enough. Asa PAC isn't here to beg. We're here to evict. We're backing warriors who spit in the face of this cabal. Jose Vega in New York, confronting the uniparty machine. He's challenging AIPAC darling Richie Torres. Mike Wilnaugh in Florida, an America-only patriot challenging Daniel Webster, a fossilized incumbent who serves everyone but the American people. Aaron Baker, also in Florida. He rejects AIPAC bribes and demands an end to the foreign aid grift.
Pause it.
He's challenging.
Guys, we need to get behind this guy for whatever. I do not care what he says or what he does.
Hold on. We'll show you why. Here's why.
The biggest Zionist of them all, Randy Fine.
And as we've
why
pointed
are you making me look at that?
Well, as we've pointed out, and I want to point this out, because if you want to know the extent of this grift and why it's nothing but a grift, and why I truly don't believe Randy Fine gives a flying F one way or the other if he keeps his seat, because when he was in the Florida legislature, he never wore a yarmulke. Ever. But the second he gets to Congress, he's wearing one.
He's wearing his yarmulke. People are wanting, okay, so here's the thing also, the difference between regular PACs and super PACs. So apparently Asa PAC, if somebody in the chat is correct, they are not a super PAC. So they get, the benefit for them is that while they have limits and caps on money from donors, they are able to coordinate with the campaigns that they want to help. So we are not allowed to coordinate. So for example, we're supporting Butch Ware for governor of California. And this has been a hard one because we love Butch and he's been on our show, but not since we've been a PAC, because we are not allowed to coordinate with his campaign. So whatever we do to support his campaign and go after his opponents is going to be done by our PAC, completely separate from his campaign. Whereas Asa PAC, if they're not a super PAC, they are able to coordinate and work with and support directly the campaigns. That's the key difference.
Agreed.
Carlson is the most dangerous anti-Semite in America.
Asa PAC is an approach.
I'm sorry. It's like, this is just, I mean, he is just such a, I can't
He's so gross.
You're gonna be kidding me.
Oh my God.
Freaking heck.
Isn't a protest. It's a reclamation. America isn't a vassal state. We're no one's colony. We're not supposed to be an ATM and munitions depot for Israel. If you're done with the fear, done with our politicians taking bribes, done with being smeared with the anti-Semitic label just because you want your country back, then AZAPAC is your army. Head to azapac.com. That's AZA-PAC.com right now. Donate, volunteer, amplify, join the fight. Because we're not pleading for our country back, we're taking it.
That's how I feel. And I wanted to start a PAC back in, I want to say the first time I started talking about it was in 21, after the first campaign. And it's something that we had worked on and sort of got taken from us. Like, it's been a long road to get to finally having a PAC, but we do.
Fine.
And, yeah.
Colin, are you able to go to our Instagram page and grab one of the recent ads that we did for the Revolutionary Change PAC, download it, and we can show the audience exactly what we're doing? As I said, I don't believe it, there are some people who think I'm insensitive to, certain people's plights, whether it's their weight, their height, their hair, things like that.
You focus on the physical more than you ought to, but
I only focus on the physical when the interior is
I understand.
irredeemable and ugly, and then it just reflects on the outside.
But here's the thing, is that people who might associate with that because of how they look, it's hurtful. And those are not people that are necessarily horrible on the inside. So that's the only reason. Like, I think it's evil on the inside. That is the issue. So,
Colin, you have to look up Revolutionary Change PAC, not the Revolutionary Change Instagram page. There is a Revolutionary Change PAC and ads that are running. Well, yeah, because it's also in the commentary, because we get to comment on the ads that get placed. So,
yeah.
Scott, I want people to be able to see this.
Yeah.
Well, here's hoping, my friend. And I think we did get a couple of more super chats, so we can read those off real quick. JG with another $2. Randy Fine needs a propeller on his tiny hat.
It won't be able to lift him no matter how big it is.
No, he's thinking of the, remember the little.
Yes, I know what he's thinking of, and he still won't be able to take flight with that thing. He'd have to have a propeller the size of like a wind turbine in order for him to be able to take flight.
Yes. All right. So now I got to try to find. This myself.
Exactly, Saul. You can make fun of some asshole having bug eyes while a friend of yours has bug eyes, and it hurts feelings. Exactly. That's my point. But Randy Fine is just so despicable as a person that it's really hard to not go for the low-hanging fruit there. And there's a lot of stuff hanging around like Randy Fine. He's got a lot hanging.
Well, it is unfortunate, but it is true. I am trying to find it right now. Let me see if there's anything that I can grab, or I could just send it to Colin. I hope they don't kick me out, because I do not want to have to deal with this shit.
I don't know how to get any of it off of from the, yeah. And I also don't know. Yeah.
All right. You're going to have to well, unfortunately, my phone is dead right now. Okay. You know what? We will play it on Thursday, and we will play it with.
We played them when we announced it. We played a couple of our ads.
Right. Yeah, we need to get better at getting this out there, because it's not getting out to the general public in a way that I think it should be.
Well, then you need to join in the group chat.
Yeah, well, I'll tell them. I appreciate you guys letting me know. I mean, listen, that was a great ad. Like I said, we're going to work with Michael. We're going to help him promote his candidates.
Absolutely.
We support them. Aaron Baker, we're going to get him on. Obviously.
With Jose Vega, we're going to have him and Jose.
As if we could not leave on a high note, of course, Saeed M. with the 50 Revolutionary Change membership.
Mohi.
Saeed, at the rate that you're going, at the rate you're going, you're going to give all 86,000 plus subscribers a membership to our channel, and then we'll be rich like astronauts.
And then what's his face will really be coming after us for taking all the money. If people we had not been paid for 5 years and have been doing this consistently. It's like, yeah. And it's like people begrudge us making even a little bit of money to just like, you have no idea how much work it takes to just get $1 out of Google.
Yeah, it's not easy, but we do have amazing supporters like Saeed. And so with that said, smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We will make an ad, or a clip out of the ASAPAC ad, and we will get that out to even more people that will now be aware of.
Why did I choose a super PAC? It seems more restrictive. Because it's more restrictive in terms of us being able to coordinate with the campaigns, but I am confident enough in Peter's and my ability to look at what the campaigns are doing and know areas where we can help and be able to contribute in a good way. We've done campaigns now enough where we know what we can do to help campaigns, but this way we're not restricted on money. So if somebody wants to drop 6 figures into our account, we can accept that. And here's hoping, right? So that's the thing. Whereas I think if we were a regular PAC, we're maxed at $10,000. And that's my thought. I'm confident in our ability to properly campaign on behalf of our candidates and be effective, that we don't need to coordinate with their campaigns, that we'll do a good job in putting out the information.
Appreciate you all. Love you all. Thank you as always for your amazing support. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We will see you Thursday and
take a burger and free Palestine.
Good night, guys.